So thanks everyone for being here tonight. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to do the last course of this introduction. Can you all see the screen? Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I'm muting everyone. All righty. Cool. I worked a lot on all those things, so those introduction. All right, so I'd like to start this last introduction course on having a feedback on each principle. So I would like to all of you to basically tell me in just a short sentence, what did you understand from the principle of mentalism? So we can take it on board and just refresh our mind about it. So we're going to start with mentalism indeed. So the all is mind. The universe is mental. Thoughts led to the manifestation of things and events. Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience on earth. Therefore, be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for everything that you think. So can you all, one after one, tell me in just a few sentences how over your last 5 weeks since you're starting this course, did you rely to this statement? And how do you see it today compared to the way you used to see it in the beginning? Because the beginning was a little bit different. So, Tamara, do you want to start?
Yeah, essentially, you're just paying more attention to what state you're in and your thoughts around the state that you're in too, and putting your awareness on where you're putting your thoughts and your energies, I guess. You can catch yourself more.
So it's about the awareness and the way you feel your experience.
Yeah, it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a linear thing, but it'll be oh, I've noticed I'm in this emotional state. What was I just thinking about? You know, is that a good place to be? You know, yes, no. How can I change that? And you start to realize how much control you have over your experience.
Yeah, because before it was, that's the way it is, where now it's like, oh, that's not always the way it has to be. It's not the way it has to be. And I have a responsibility with whatever emotion and thought I'm bringing to this reality, because all of them will have an interaction with me.
Yes, and the other thing that just came up in the last 24 hours about this is that you just don't know how long you've got here. So like every moment then becomes extraordinarily long because you've put your efforts into how you want to experience it. So you actually stretch time a little bit too.
Cool. Beautiful. Thank you. Nick, do you want to share something? Or not?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah. No, I do. I feel like mentalism is pretty all-encompassing. So it's very simple as well, you know, like you've been reminding us, these are all really simple concepts. So like Tamara, for me, integrating this has been a conscious, like a conscious exercise in awareness around what I'm thinking. So, you know, again, like Tamara, noticing emotion and then going, what is the thought pattern feeding this? Or, you know, or even just observing what triggered me into this thought pattern, or just having a little bit more of almost like urgency to it, you know, to be thinking affirmatively and to recognize that it's going to be mirrored back to me, what I'm thinking. So, you know, not to take it seriously, but to a degree, yeah, kind of take where I invest my mental energy. You know, what I invest my vibrational power into. And yeah, and I do that with the thoughts that I think, which means it influences all my actions. It influences everything that I do, because I'm making a conscious decision to reflect on these principles. So that's empowered me in a way to get in touch with myself, to get in touch with my mind, and yeah, to heighten awareness around thoughts that would normally go by unnoticed, quite simply. And yeah, like then we get into vibration and we get into what it implicates, but really, to simplify and all encompass, it's like, what are you thinking? And that's it. And it helps shape my future. It helps shape my vision, because what am I thinking? Well, I'm thinking about things that I want to see more than I ever have now. And that's triggering me into some affirmative action and some positive emotion. So yeah, that's what I have taken from it. And still feel like there's more to like comprehend and integrate. But for me, it's the awareness work. And yeah, you know, the forward facing. So the past is the past. What matters is now, and what potential we have to become. So yeah, just bringing that into more of, you know, my state of being. And yeah, that's I would probably say where my application of mentalism has manifested as.
Cool. Thank you very much. Ayo, do you want to share something? Robin is not here.
Right. Well, now I use mentalism. Yeah, like Nick said, that's where you start, Nick, and that's a great awareness. But I use it now with the, and Roman probably mentioned it, the principle of neutralization. So when stuff happens that I don't like or I don't particularly want, and then the way to trick you can't stop the swings going, they're going to go anyway. But to jump to mentalism, because that's a different plane, you know, with his physical, emotional, mental, and a lot of other stuff. So if you jump to another plane, you can actually control to a certain extent the swings that are going on below you, you know. And so I use that, and it's remarkable how, with practice, how quickly you can almost negate the swings going the way that you don't want them to go. So that's how I use it mainly now.
Yeah, so I always referring to what we do in the advanced course, and the more knowledge you have about reality and the more you understand how reality is structured, the more, because right now, like, it's like you're having your paint, but you only paint what you see of reality. In the advanced course, you're going to starting to see reality in a different way. So suddenly you're going to paint things in a whole different way. So what you feel now about the way you behave with mentalism is actually based on what you understand of reality. The more you're going to understand reality in a different way, and the more you're going to paint a whole different relationship between reality and yourself. Is that right, Ayo? Is that?
Yeah, I can also say you can think of, right now you've probably just got the alphabet. You've got the letters of the alphabet. But you haven't made words, you haven't made stories, you haven't made poetry. And that comes...
But it's still fun. Like when you have those letters, you can still play with them. That's the thing. It's you have the alphabet, you don't know what they are, you're just starting to play with them. But when you're starting to see what you can do with those letters, this is when the excitement comes. But yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, you're just starting to speak, and the more you're going to, you're starting to play with the letters, which is already fun. But when you're going to start to see what is happening when you put the letters together and you create words and you create bridges and communication, then suddenly, wow, it's a whole different level of game. So yeah. Thanks, Ayo. Robin?
Yeah, well, the mind, it's certainly, it's very difficult nowadays to just have a conversation with a lot of people, because most people just talk rubbish. Well, not rubbish, but, you know, stuff I'm not really interested in. I'm not interested in hearing everybody's details about their latest operation and their life and their children and God knows what they're going on. But I've, for years, used mine to focus on stopping dogs barking and stopping babies crying in planes and things like that, and really focusing on using that thought to change certain things that are happening. But yeah, it's certainly being responsible for everything is thinking, creating your own reality, because we can't blame anybody else for who we are and what our situation is. We created it with our thoughts.
Yeah, so you already intuitively understood this in your past experience. So it basically confirmed what your experience was actually showing you already. Cool, thank you. So next principle is principle of correspondence. So that's then that which is above is like that which is below. That which is below is like that which is above. The macrocosm, the very large, the totality, and the microcosm, the very small, the individual units which comprise the whole, are reflections of each other. The universe is holographic and is self-similar across all scale. So the way I was showing it is through the fractal elements. So fractality is one of the best expression of incorporating infinity in a finite space. So what's your understanding of correspondence today? Like, did you have anything to add to it? Just raise your hand if you want to say something. Nick? Yep.
This is where, for me, and my understanding of it, mentalism is, you're shown evidence of mentalism. So your external environment is your evidence of where your inner environment is, of where, you know, thought, feeling, and emotion will be mirrored. And that's how I've been applying this principle is, you know, like deciding, choosing my outcome before it exists, choosing my emotion. So, you know, really believing that this outcome is, and feeding a thought pattern that supports that. And no word of a lie. Like I see when I can really put those three things together, I get the evidence. Like 5 minutes later, I'll get a text message, or I'll get something that's just that quickly. My whole my reality and the direction that it's cascading in can just shift that quickly. You know, the text message leads to, you know, in a work context, for example, text message will lead to a consultation, which will lead to, you know, like a rapport being built, and then it'll lead to working together with someone who I can, you know, who I can help, and that exchange happens. And when I am feeling the opposite, which is lack, injustice, hopelessness, and thoughts of, you know, not being good enough, thoughts that it's really hard, and the physiology that mirrors that. So like feeling heavy, feeling low, feeling unmotivated. Well, you know, that usually just cascades in that direction, you know, where nothing happens, and the evidence is there, you know, as above, so below. What am I creating internally? Yeah, a deficit. Cool. There's a deficit externally as well. So yeah, that's how I understood it, and that's what I've been playing with, and that's what I've been seeing evidence of in both contexts. You know, both poles. Yeah.
Cool. Tamara?
Yeah, just obviously what I'll say will be similar to Nick, but with correspondence, once you're sort of aware of it and you look at it not so much as a visual example around you of smaller, larger, 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 etc. You can also see it in dynamics. So as Nick was saying, how he feels then is reflected around him. So you can see perhaps like your habitual behaviors, then you start to see it in your family, then you start to see it in your friends and in the communities that you belong to, in the groups that you belong to, and the programs that you watch on television, and the types of people that look at those as well. Not that I watch television, I'll just say that. But you start to see that it's actually all linked, and it expands in an ever widening circle. So when you come back to, okay, I'm responsible for me, then you're actually accountable and responsible and creating your corresponding effect in your experience. It's cool.
Yeah, very true, very true. Interesting. Never thought about this one, but yeah, indeed. Indeed, like that which is in the TV is like that which is in your mind. Do you want to say something, Robin, or Ayo?
It's this holographic, the holographic universe. It also relates to events that happen in the past, in time. If there's something traumatic enough, it makes an imprint. And that action just keeps playing and playing and playing. It goes around. I've seen it when I've been traveling around where there's been a horrendous battle. The first time I saw it was in New Zealand, where there'd been a tremendous battle between the Maori and the English. And they were still fighting. They were still going round and round. Part of my journey has been to clear some of those too, and just to interact with that and lift it, because it's not real anymore, but they've left the imprint there. And the whole world is full of these imprints. And I know we leave aspects of ourselves wherever we've lived in various lives around the planet, and part of the journey, my journey anyway, has been to collect all those aspects of myself that I have left, imprints, shadows, thoughts, and to collect them all so there's nothing of me left on the earth.
It's interesting as well, like this, that which is in the now is like that which is in a previous life. Like we can also see this in a karmic way, indeed, yes.
Just replaying the whole thing over and over again, because they don't realize they're stuck. And we don't realize we're stuck either.
Until you bring awareness to what you do. And so it's direct consequence of the principle of mentalism. And suddenly, like, you can be aware of it and you can take control of it, and you can suddenly try to change the direction.
Yeah.
And as soon as you change your direction, as soon as you do something differently, then suddenly that which is inside is like that which is outside. Suddenly your whole outside world would shift. And it would shift not because the reality changed, but because your inner world changed, which actually influenced the reality outside.
Yeah, it's sort of like from enslavement to freedom in some ways. But, as we go along this journey, and the further along we get, we need to be totally and utterly responsible for everything we do. And that responsibility is a huge responsibility in some ways. And it's very, very, you have to be very aware of being responsible for all your actions, because we're so knee-jerk quite often, or we just react.
Yeah, it's like a video that I watched one day about someone who was talking about the concept of happiness and how we do the big mistake to believe that happiness can be produced by an external factor, where actually happiness is the state you are in when you are experimenting life. And therefore, there's no one else than yourself that can actually bring happiness or remove happiness from you. So therefore, like if you want your life to be a happy environment, just start by bringing happiness in your heart. And as soon as you're going to bring happiness in your heart, then as a coincidence, the people around you will just going to start to get happy as well. And you're going to live like this resonance between the inside and the outside, because there's a dynamic that is happening after a while.
So how many people believe you'll be happy if you get a new car, or a new partner, or a new dress, or a new job? It's all externalized, and that's the whole marketing concept too. That's what we're told to believe. So
exactly. Like at the end of the day, the people that have, sorry.
As they used to say, the last place most people look is under their nose. It's sort of in the heart.
Exactly, and it's nearly impossible to know what is going to make you happy. I don't know what's going to make you happy. Like, so it's really pretentious to believe that you could have like the power to make people happy or unhappy in both ways. Like, you are just dealing for yourself. You are trying to bring happiness in your life as much as you can. And even believing that you can be responsible for happiness or unhappiness in outside is completely mental, because at the end of the day, the people choose to like listen to what you say or choose not to listen to what you say. So you never really do anything. The people choose to embrace what you try to do or not.
And I also think that further along the path you get, you mirror a lot, and a lot of people see a reflection of themselves in you, and they can transfer a lot of that onto you and blame you for being the way they see you.
Yeah, like how many times do we see someone outside and we blame them without realizing that what we see is actually what we can see. And if we can see it, it's because we want to see it. And that's something that we are not really prepared to admit most of the time. It's like, if you're able to see that I'm doing something wrong, it's like someone that suddenly put a glasses. As soon as you put the purple glasses on your eyes, you can only see reality purple. You can't see reality blue or red or pink. It's impossible. You just see purple. As soon as you remove the glass, suddenly, now I see all the colors. So it was there before. And suddenly by putting this filter, you see everything like this, and anything that will be in this spectrum would suddenly manifest what you want to see. But we don't know that. We just know it when one day we live an experience of feeling something for someone and rationally realizing, but this is not true. This person didn't do anything like this. It just triggered something. But this thing was already inside of me. That which is inside is like that which is outside. Same principle.
How much easier it is to project these negative feelings onto someone else than to own them for yourself. And,
Yeah.
and especially, figureheads, celebrities, famous people, how they're projected on to our inadequacies.
Yeah. Like the day it happened to me was when I was doing this 30 days water fast. And after this period of time, suddenly I was walking in the street and suddenly I felt betrayed. I was like, what betrayed me? And I really felt betrayed. And I look around and I was like, but who betrayed me? Because betrayed is really directly connected to something, so someone especially. And I look around and I was like, but where this emotion is coming from? There's absolutely zero connection between what I was feeling and my experience of reality. And it was pretty shocking. I suddenly realized emotion are already there. And they just look at something in reality to target, to bring into my awareness. And it was the first time that I was experiencing feeling something with absolutely nothing in this reality that could embrace it. But it was a way to release something. So I just released it without having no one around me claiming, I can betray you if you want to. Because right now I needed someone to betray me. And it's a fantastic experience to realize, but this emotion was already there. It was there. It was somewhere in my body. And because I was fasting, it had just been released at this specific moment. And fortunately, there was no one around me who could stand up and say, if you want, I can betray you, so you can have a punching ball and you can blame me for whatever thing I haven't done. And
betrayal is one of the deepest things one can do to another, and how deeply one feels it. But I also think betrayal is a great gift in some ways, because it frees you from being bound to whoever you believe's betrayed you.
Yep. Thank you, Robin. Do you want to add something? Or
my view of correspondence is that it's sort of tied up with mentalism and vibration and polarity. You can't really separate them, because all it says is there's an opposite. The minute you have a thought, that instant the opposite is created, because that's the function of how this whole thing works. And then knowing you're going to have an up and a down or whatever it is, but it's sort of like, it's like this, the function that's there, it's not doing anything. It's like when you go down to vibration, the next principle, that's when things start to move and take action. And then when you get to polarity, that's actually when you can see how correspondence actually manifests through the law. So it's, for me, it's hard to to differentiate. This sort of come in a package, if you like, maybe a three-dimensional package or a four-dimensional package.
So this is an interesting point. Like, for example, if we take mentalism, don't you think that in a way, that which is in a mind is like, so which, let's say that the mind is the awareness, okay? So that which is in the awareness is like that which is in the ignorance or in the non-awareness. So don't you think that in a way, like this correspondence, which is very different from polarity, like I understand what you said about polarity, but like correspondence is this change of scale, is this ability to change of scale and seeing the same pattern. And now that you did the four elements, you can see this correspondence happening in an horizontal plane and in a vertical plane. There's two aspects of it. So like you can bring correspondence in every other principles if you look at it, and you can actually do that with every principles. There are each of them can actually, like Tamara mentioned something about, sorry, it was Nick. Nick mentioned something about the consequence, like he was seeing the correspondence as the consequence, and this actually is more connected to cause and effect. But he was seeing the cause and effect in the correspondence, so he was seeing the dynamic of the cause and effect into the correspondence. A little bit the way you do it when you say, oh, like you can see correspondence in the polarity. You can see it in the polarity, but what is very fundamentally important is to be able to distinguish each of the principle for what they are. Yeah. Because the more you're going to get into the nuance of each principle, and the more you're going to feel how each of them are bringing a piece of the picture. And it's a common mistake, and I'm doing it all the time, to mix some principle together. And because like this is how the mind works, like we need to have something practical. If we have like a flour, if we have flour, eggs, like spice and sugar, like great. But if we can't make a cake with it, like they don't really make sense one by one. Like you're not going to eat the flour by itself. You're not going to eat the raw egg. But when you combine them together, oh wow, now you can create something that is called a cake. So it's about like being able to identify each raw material and then decide to cook whatever you want to cook or create whatever you want to create with each of them.
That's right. But correspondence also, if you think of the ore, it's like it's everything and nothing's happening. It's just that stillness. Once you bring correspondence into it, suddenly there's darkness and light. So suddenly you begin to see things because you have the opposite, the correspondence, the distinction. You can distinguish between the two. And so that's the, I think that's what correspondence does. It's almost like it brings it down a dimension that you can begin to see how the whole thing works. And then when you go through the other principles, that's actually when the action starts taking place, that you can, as you said, that you can see or feel or whatever.
Yeah, one of the most interesting sentence that is related to the principle of correspondence is, when I was young, I wanted to change the world. And now that I'm getting older, I want to change myself.
Yeah.
And this is the best representation of the correspondence. Like when you're young, you're trying to change what is outside of yourself. And when you get maturity, you're like, oh, but it's all about my relationship with it. It's all about my perception of it. And in a way, when you are changing your relationship and your perception, you are changing the world. Because you're inspiring people, because you are influencing people, because you are, in a way, reacting with them. And this is, again, principle of vibration, principle of rhythm, and how everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. Next principle is principle of vibration. So nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates at the most fundamental level. The universe and everything which comprises it is pure vibratory energy manifesting itself in different ways. The universe has no solidity as such. Matter is merely energy in a state of vibration. Who would like to share something? Tamara?
I had a lovely experience of vibration. It was via a hug, actually, a rather long hug. And I asked my friend if he had just done something, and he said, yes, he'd actually sent me love. And I actually felt it come through me. And it didn't like bounce off my skin or anything. It passed through my body in its entirety. I felt it. And it wasn't solid. It wasn't singular. It was definitely a vibration, without doubt. And it was really, really delicate and subtle and perfect and beautiful and lovely. And I recommend it.
Thank you. That's
You're
nice
welcome.
Anyone else? Vibration? Yannick?
Yeah. Awesome one tomorrow. Like vibration and rhythm has been two that I've been really had in my awareness in a big way. I can't get the imagery out of my head of the metronomes, you know, and how they all just sort of fell in line. And what we spoke about mental firmness will dictate you influence the group rather than being pulled into the group's tempo. But I'm working in massage more than ever at the moment, and so it's just the perfect environment to tune into vibration, have awareness around my vibration, but to really be aware or sensitive to somebody else's. You know what I mean? And you can really understand a person in a much more like truer and more effective way if you're communicating or at least feeling them on a vibrational level. You're feeling them, you know, their words, you see through their words if they've got their mask on or they're you know, lying to you. I feel like the principle of vibration makes it difficult to lie, you know, or to be lied to when you're opening yourself up to this principle in a wholehearted way. And the other thing is, like Tamara's experience is being, you know, like aware that you can use your powers, you can use your magical powers of mentalism and those principles to share, to give, you know, to you know, even if it's just a little bit, you can just give some life force, you know what I mean, if you've got enough to share. And I think vibration has been on the personal, on the touch, on the healing level, a really nice one. And then the whole fact that, you know, back to mentalism, thoughts put out a vibration which arranges atoms into, like you said, Rome, that crystallization into manifestation. That's pretty cool too. So again, the thing that kind of rattled me was the metronome imagery, and again, taking on more self-responsibility as a result of that, going, who am I surrounding myself with? What am I doing to recharge and reset and you know, center and stillness? And vibrations a hard one to ignore once you open yourself up to it in a massive way. That would be my
and it has also to do with the up and down, like the notion of up and down, like preparing yourself that life is not just a quiet and peaceful journey, like, and that's okay. It's only when you have the expectation that it has to be easy that you basically disarm yourself against any form of challenge. When you know that after the oscillation up, you're going to have to fall down, and after the down, you're going to have to hold up. It's actually like nice, like you're getting ready. Like when something is great, yeah, it's great. Then it's not going to be great all the time, and that's okay. There's no drama to have around. There's no fear to have around. It's all normal. Like when you have the wrong expectation that, oh, you have to reach happiness and you have to focus all your life on happiness. As soon as you're not happy, then your whole world disappears. And this is the beauty with vibration and rhythm. Like both of them are preparing you for the season, the cycle. Like regardless where the cycle is happening, can happening in an emotional aspect, an intellectual aspect, a spiritual aspect, and that's okay. That's okay. You're actually getting excited about it. Oh, like I'm really happy. What problem are going to happen in a few days? Because I need something to learn. Because like now I'm living this state of balance, which is great, but it's starting to get a bit boring. You know, it's like after 4 or 5 days of full sun, it's like great. It's sunny, great. When the rain is coming. When the rain is coming, like it's just like great, it's amazing. But after 4, 5, 6 days a month, you're like, it just drives you crazy. And when the rain pours, like, oh, wow, you can just feel the flush, you can feel the cleansing, you can feel like all this. And you feel that this is not natural to always looking for one thing. It's like the people who just like every time it's winter, we need to move and go in the other hemisphere. So we're not staying in winter. But wait a second, why are you not taking this moment to actually dig into yourself, go into the cocoon and getting ready for spring? Because if you always live in a sunny and summer environment, how do you really embrace the 4 aspects of creation, or 5 or 6 or 7, whatever you want to call them, to allow each aspect to nourish yourself and allow you to live different experience? So like, I love as well the vibration and rhythm for this. Like they just bring back a lot of coherence in like sometimes it's also nice to look for chaos. Because you know that every time that you're going to bring chaos, you're actually going to prepare the piece that is coming after. You know, it's like preparing the soil to be ready. So then when the time is right, you just plant the seed. But if you haven't prepared the soil, if you haven't done your job, then your soil will never be ready, and you're never going to be able to plant anything. You'll never be able to grow anything. And if you don't understand that, these needs of anticipating the cycles and need to respect the cycles, then you're never going to be in a synchronicity. You're always going to be before or after. Thank you, Nick. Robin Ayo would like to share something?
That's been the story of my life, basically. Whenever things have been going on a nice, smooth, even keel, I think, oh, you know, need a couple of waves, you know, just to create a bit of a change. I've always embraced change, and at the moment I'm going through another one of them, and I'm trying to manifest how to go and live over around the Mediterranean area for 6 months next year. I just think I'm getting older, and I've had a pretty adventurous life, and I still want to have a couple more adventures before I can't. And I'll probably keep on having them, but I really do. I've always, all my life, have created change within it, because I remember doing a session once when I lived in New Zealand for a while on a woman, and she'd had a very, very, well, not adventurous. She was a Maori woman. She'd had a hell of a life, really. She's created all sorts of things in her life. And I took her up to this higher level of herself, and she's, oh, it's beautiful. It's so peaceful. She floated around for a while. She said, but it's so boring. And she realized why she was continuously creating these events in her life, because it just kept her in a strange sort of way alive. And I think, you know, it's very easy to get caught up in our own comfort level and just drift along. And one day you think, my God, where's my life gone? Instead of having created, you know, what we came to do. I mean, we just didn't come here to born and, you know, go to school and get a job and have kids and be grandparents. We came to do something. And a lot of people just don't understand that. You know, why do you keep doing what you're doing? But, you know, to me, it's a drive, and it's an inner journey. And that is my happiness, you know, sort of, because I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But I couldn't live a suburban life.
It requires a certain level of mastery to be able to bring the chaos before life does it for you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I always say, I've said to many people, one of the tricks in life is to know when to move on and when to, you know, to be aware that things are going to change, because if you don't, things can become very destructive, and that's when the chaos sets in.
Yeah, and this is a very powerful trick to feel when it's time to move. And it doesn't have to be understood.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's completely irrational. Most of the time it happens when at the worst time, at the worst moment. And this is the most exciting thing, like when you're taking risk, but you know that you're surfing on a wave, so nothing really going to happen to you. You're just going to succeed. And like this is send us back to the cause and effect principle, where when you go into that realm of trust and you're switching from the fear and going to the trust, then suddenly the whole mechanism of love, knowledge, sovereignty, freedom, and order is unfolding before your eyes. And you're like, what the hell? What the hell? It's completely irrational. It can't make sense in any way, shape, or form, but it is happening.
And you're not resisting it. It's the resistance. The resistance causes the pain. It's not the change.
Yep. Thank you very much. Ayo?
Question for me is many things. I mean, you can't live without feeling vibration all around you. You've got the frequencies and all that sort of stuff. And then also changing your thoughts, but you could change your vibration and you can change your thoughts too. And so it's a very powerful tool to have and to realize. And when you realize there are millions of levels of vibration, it actually makes you think quite a lot, and you get to distinguish finer and finer vibrations and subtleties, and that change can have a huge change and huge effect in your life and in others' lives. So it's a huge principle. I think it takes a long time, but working with it, you just work with your understanding of it, and it makes huge changes in your life when you start, I suppose, playing with it.
Yeah, vibration is a dynamic expression of mentalism, correspondence, and it's the dynamic expression of it. It's the way that will be manifesting in your life. If you're vibrating in low vibration, like probably provoked by your inside world, like you're going to generate this outside low vibration, and this is again connected and triggered by your mind. You will then manifest in your reality, attract, bring the coincidence that will confirm that your state of mind is actually true by manifesting it into your life. So it's the dynamic projection of your inside world. So it's interesting to see the relationship of the principles together and how you can actually rely vibration to cause and effect, to care and love, to mentalism. When you really start to identify each of them, it's a very interesting exercise, maybe not for tonight, but later, to starting to see, what's happening when I'm combining correspondence with cause and effect? What is happening when I'm combining vibration with love and care? What is happening? And starting to feel, this is how it's happening. So that's how you can start to master like the recipes, because you have your raw material, but with like 7 ingredients, you can make maybe 10 different meals, 20 different meals, 30 different meals. It's your creativity that will then decide, okay, I need to take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and starting to mix them together to be like, now I'm not operating from principle, I'm actually creating laws. Because as I already mentioned, principles are the raw material, they are individual principles. When you combine some principles, you're creating laws. And those laws then will manifest some facts, and the fact will then allow opinions. So that's how they all operate. Thanks, Ayo. Next principle is polarity. So the principle of polarity stands that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Someone would like to share something? So we had like an interesting, I remember this from Chloe. Chloe was asking, how do you visualize polarity? And she was like, I can see this as a straight line opposite. And I was like, no, that's not the way I see it. I actually see it as a bracelet. So it's an open circle. The two doesn't touch in a way, but they are the two extreme, and they're all connected into one center point. So it's a spherical straight line that just folds on itself. So the extreme meets in a way, and again, that which is in the balance is like that which is in the extreme. So you have this correspondence between the center point of the polarity, which is the state of balance between both, and the two extreme who can express the two separate vision of it. So I thought it was a good way to connect to the polarity, because if you don't see the polarity this way, you will separate the elements. You will think that there's a separation in the duality, which never really happened, because both are separated by the degree, not by the nature. The nature stay the same. Anyone would like to share something? Are you first? Yeah.
In Doreen Virtue's book, because she's written a book also, which is called Divine Magic, not the Kybalion. And she had a rather interesting thing there that I think will help many people play with polarity a bit better. She had these sort of towers, if you can imagine, sort of towers. And then she put something like wealth and relationships and everything at the bottom. Let's say, you know, the lowest club polarity, it was not really low, but one polarity. And then I said, just mentally shift your vibration too, of course, shift your polarity up to the top level. And that was quite a nice visualization. And then she encouraged everybody every morning to check your poles and shift the levers, sort of thing. And I thought that was quite a nice visual expression of how to start playing with polarity on a very conscious level. And then check in the evening, where's your polarity? Oh, God, it's dropped right down again. Okay, and be much more aware of the shifts one goes throughout the day in polarity, and where do you really want to be, and how do you find that balance?
Yep. Very true. Nick, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
I think I just wanted to reshare what I started practicing, and that was coming to terms with it's okay to explore the poles instead of judging myself for exploring one end of it and believing I had to stay in what I've been told is the good end. And it's just freed up a lot of self-pressure, a lot of self-judgment, a lot of, being hard on myself, which everybody, well, the majority of people seem to be to an extent. A lot of people are obsessed with being hard on themselves in a they're stuck in one pole in that way. But for me, like, I was driving a TAFE on Tuesday, and I don't know, I was I was late, and I'd been working before earlier in the morning, and I don't know, like, I'm all for, have self-control and be peaceful. Anyway, cut a long story short, or to cut my little disclaimer here, I indulged in some road rage, and it was awesome. I loved it, and it did make me feel better. And and it also, I was gonna miss the turn off, and yeah. Anyway, this dude wouldn't let me in, so I kind of wound my window down and gestured him to let me in. in a way that, was loud and clear. And, and then I started beating myself up straight away. I was like, I just reduce myself, like that's not what I want to see in the world. And I was like, whatever, like it happened. The outcome that I wanted happened, which was that I got to turn right. If that dude takes me personally, well, damn it, I can't help that either way. And I do believe he was being, I don't know, he was being an asshole, not to even take it personally, but yeah. So for me, it was like, all right, he was being an asshole. Maybe I just had to speak his language, which was like, get the fuck out of my way and flip him off. And it worked. And I was like, okay, well, that's where I was, 2 seconds ago, and now I'm not there anymore. So that's fine. And yeah, I think I'm exploring my emotions around polarity instead of being anchored in this idea of what I'm supposed to be. And it's just more authenticity for me, like it's a true portrayal of myself to people, to the world, and as a, as a coach. And I think it's a really healthy thing for me to not be so rigid in this idea of what is right and wrong and what I'm supposed to be, doing. And so polarity has been a beautiful one for me, actually. And just, exploring it, on the emotional level and even, in the physical level, in the, my actions and just being okay with it. So I've got a lot out of that. Yeah. That's my 2 cents. Bit of road rage.
So you are experimenting, learning, becoming an asshole.
Exactly. Yeah. Like honestly.
Do I have to take credit for that, or?
You are my like I've got a little line of you, and it says like asshole. Like there's a couple contract and there's. No, but honestly, like I've had this comment a lot in my life. You're too nice. And I've sort of like brushed it off, like there's no such thing. But, like I feel like there's value in that. If it's being said, and it's being said by a multitude of people over different, times of my life, it's like, well, why I'm being too nice is because I have this need to be liked. And that's an unhealthy thing. That's a codependency that now I'm aware of it, I don't want to feed anymore. So what serves me and gives me more to give is flexibility between the poles and being okay if I'm at one end of the pole and knowing that I'll hit the center point and I'll probably hit the other pole at some stage too. When that happens, I don't know, but it's okay to be wherever you're at the time. So polarity has opened my eyes to, and definitely, honestly, your influence in and your exemplification of being okay with being
an asshole,
an emotional person, and not always reactive, but sometimes reactive, and yeah. So I feel happy and grateful for that one. Yeah.
Look, if it really open your mind on like not being afraid, because that's the real beauty of it, not being afraid of trying something. Like when we spoke about before about like the real mastery in life is to be able to bring your own chaos in your reality.
Yeah.
Like if you're sticking in one side of the pendulum and you're afraid of going on the other side, I guess what's going to happen? Like you're never going to have any rhythm. You're never going to be in the right place, in the right spot, because you're always going to be afraid of going in a space. Like I'm not like advertising people to be asshole, but if you want to be in certain case and certain opportunity, why not? What's the problem with it? Why not? Like who like it's not better or worth, and it's at the end of the day, it's always going to be a perspective. And that's a hard lesson that I learned when I was young. Like I grew up in a very hard environment, and I was surrounded by really like redneck. That's how you say in English, like really, really. And the first lesson that I learned is like, being intelligent with deeply mean people and stupid people is like being too stupid both. Like it's having two stupid people at the same level, because those people doesn't understand intelligence. Their language, as you said, sometimes is you have to be an asshole. And when you do that, suddenly they respect you.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's like, and you're like, this is insane. Like I just dubbed down into your level and suddenly you respect me. Like what I feel was a big fall into something dark and negative was for them was like, man, like, yeah, amazing. And I was so like, that sucks. That really sucks. But in the meantime, it's a very interesting lesson, and it prepared me to understand polarity later. There's nothing good, there's nothing bad. It's all a question of perspective. And you constantly have to readjust your perspective to the situation, because every situation is different. Every now is a new now. And if you're not allowing yourself to experiment both sides of the coin, then you're going to miss an opportunity to be in the right time at the right place with the right people.
Wow, that further like resonates with me is how you're going to get in your own way, or you're gonna anchor yourself if you're not willing to get, you're
going to hurt yourself. You oppose a resistance, like Robin said before.
Exactly. And you're not going to be surfing. That's what we keep saying is, are you surfing? Are you on the rhythm, or are you trying to stop the wave and have it be a certain way, and you're just going to get slapped. So yeah, for me, it's like a part of my journey into masculinity more, to be honest with you, is to not be so cautious and so concerned about being seen as a good boy. Really, I think that's what it all stems from, really. So
it's interesting, like this good boy, good girl. Like when I came in Australia, and like everyone like speaking about the kids with good boy, good girl. It's weird because in France we never said that. Like good boy, good girl is the kind of thing we say to dogs and cats.
Yeah.
And like I was shocked. I was like, and some people with Elia are doing it. Like when Elia is doing the things, oh, good girl, good girl. I'm looking at them like, stop it. She's not a cat. She's not a dog. Like, stop saying good girl. She do whatever she wants. If she want to be a bad girl, be a bad girl. I don't care. Like, do what makes you feel right and explore whatever you want to feel when you want to feel it. Except when I disagree, because when I disagree, Daddy is is teaching cause and effect. Tamara, you wanted to say something?
I did want to say something, but you've actually covered it off in your response to Nick.
Oh, sorry.
It was simply about, no. It was just simply about how wherever you are on your bracelet, it's a movable feast. And if you stop to pay attention where you actually are, then you're already moving from where you were a moment ago. And that's really all it was. The experience of being in your position changes your position.
And the self-awareness of it. Yep.
Yes, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Robin, Ayo? Something? Yes, no, Ayo, Robin?
What Tamara's just saying, it sounds like a scientific experiment. You can do the experiment, but when you're aware of doing it, it changes it, and there's a different outcome. But I was just thinking about this good girl, good boy thing. I remember at school, if you weren't, and when you were little at school, if you weren't a good girl, you got sent out of the room, or you got punished. If you weren't a good boy, you got the cuts, so there was a vested interest in trying to be good so you didn't get punished. But I think I've told you this before, but I used to misbehave because I got sent to the library, and in the library were all these National Geographics, and I learned far more from them than I ever did from that horrible little teacher. And I think that started me off on my wandering life. So I was deliberately bad at times, well, so-called bad in the eyes of the teacher. So I would get sent out of the room and go into the library. So that was a conscious thing. And I think a lot of kids are consciously, wanting to push the boundaries and just see what they can get away with. And I mean, that's all part of being a child, instead of being put into a little box and being a you know, little goody-goody and not being game to challenge anything.
When you look at the principle of vibration, polarity, and rhythm, even in a sentimental life, like even in personal life, like sometimes Kimberly, my wife, is struggling with me, but she doesn't understand that I integrated those principles so much that I'm sometimes behaving in the worst way to actually prepare the piece that's going to come after. And I know it sounds crazy because like it sounds a little bit extreme, but why not in a relationship? Like the fact that so many people are separating and most of them are never really leaving anything. And as soon as something wrong is happening, big drama, big drama, where like if you constantly oscillate into tiny little insignificant drama, then suddenly it's just one more drama, like get over it. And it becomes easy to manage. That's a strategy that I put in place, like even if I'm not completely conscious of it. And I'm not advising anyone to do the same because it's really a French stuff, you know, like bringing a mess so you can eventually fix it after. It's a cultural stuff.
The making up is lovely.
It's a thing that we do often in France, like just arguing just for the pleasure of arguing, because then it just gives us an opportunity then after to reconciliate. Things that all the people who are afraid of arguing can never experiment. They just like constantly live in this like very politically correct situation, if you see what I mean. And they never really experiment like just getting passionate and exploding and all the beauty that comes out with it. If it's managed in a correct way, like if you constantly live in a conflict, it becomes too much. If you constantly live in this self-correctness, it's boring. Again, we have this pendulum oscillating between this movement and this stillness, and just finding the right fine-tuning in between is an art. And those principles are really helpful for that, like principle of cause and effect, rhythm, polarity, like all of them really help you to tune like, oh, and guess what? Naturally, we are having cycles. Like women have a natural menstrual cycle, but men as well. Like there's different level of cycles. Like there's the birth cycle, for example. The day when you were born, every fortnight, if you can count on this, like the day when you're born, if you're born on a Tuesday, for example, you know that one Tuesday over two, you're going to go through a kind of mess up. It's something that is happening subconsciously, and it's connected to the preparation of the birth and the fact that you were born and everything that is happening after that. It is something that is we're completely unaware of it, and that it's not that much explained. But yes, we are living different subtle level of pendulum, and they are there for a reason. They're there to actually allow something to be structured and something destructured to be destroyed so that you can allow something new to be built. And life integrated this into our psyche and into our natural cycle, and the ancient structured that through the 7 days of the week, because it's a 14-day cycle. 14 days, 28 days for the moon. 14 days is half of the 28 days, and you have this 14-day cycle that is happening for the man and the woman. That's something that is not well known. But yeah, that's what.
But we've also got biorhythms that we
that
we work with too, and they're different lengths of time. And when they intersect, you have different qualities of your life or different emotions than when they're in parallel or they're in opposites. I mean, you can do a biorhythm chart, which is a little printout thing.
Yeah, for agriculture, like for agriculture, for people.
No, for people. For people.
Okay. Yep. Cool. So let's see now the principle of rhythm. Tamara said something on the chat. Disobedience is not necessarily bad. Nope. Let's be a bad girl. Naughty girl. So principle of rhythm, everything flows out and in, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall, the pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So again, you have this neutralization, as Ayo mentioned before, about this cycle going in one direction and cycle going into the other direction. and you have the different plane of existence, like being in the swing, moving with the element, or being in the stillness. And that's where you have to choose. Like, do you want to be in the low, and I would understand the earth aspect, or do you want to be in the fire aspect, the element that is above, that is the stillness, and all the different gradients of it through it. So you can feel that there's this different aspect. We talked already a lot about the principle of rhythm. Anyone would like to share something about it? Because the rhythm is deeply incorporated into all the principles, like this balance, this pendulum swing going in one direction, the other direction, moving up and down. Yeah, this is something that is entirely incorporated into the polarity, into the vibration. It's just bringing the dynamic of the oscillation and the relationship of the different plan. You wanted to say something, Nick? Yes, no? Oh, sorry, I thought you raised your hand. Tamara.
Yes, rhythm. For me, that brings a lot of correspondence, actually quite closely connects with rhythm for me. And I love the idea, or it came up, I think, possibly in the rhythm component, about the masters who are in a state while allowing the polarity of that state to execute itself and then come back, but they're still quite centered. I thought that was really quite wonderful in a way that, you know, every day is different, every moment is different, and you could spend your time trying to work out the rhythm of the days and the weeks and the months, and then try to use that information to then make decisions. But that's all a bit boring, really, isn't it? It takes away the magic. I really love the idea of just kind of not going with the flow exactly, but kind of riding the flow and holding your own while allowing everything to go on around you is quite a wonderful thing, and quite a, I don't know if you call it a skill. The masters have the skills for these things, but it seems that it's just everywhere around us, this concept of rhythm, and we can either let it take us, or we can kind of just pass through it in a way, or let it pass through us. Maybe just let it pass through us, and keep our trajectory on what we're focused on. I think I'm babbling. Sorry, I'll just go now.
That's all right. Just a word on the word master. No one is born as a master. Every master become masters. So like there's no, it's not a given. It's work, and it's a state, and it's an awareness, and it's an integration. Like mastery doesn't pop up like this. It's the consequence, it's the effect of all the work that you put, and all the care and attention that you put into causing what will induce this realization. So don't think that it's something like our masters that just become masters like this. No, it's all the work, the hard work. And I know that you already put a lot of this work in visualizing, imagining, bringing your awareness, integrating. All these are actually bringing you to mastery. Like last time I used the word initiation, and this is, you picked on this one. Like, what is an initiate? What is an initiation about? And this is all about it. It's about being on a path of being fully present and experimenting life in a multiple level, and seeing that there's much, 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 much more than all the other people who told you that we already understood everything about everything, we discovered everything about everything. All that is a lie. All that is a big, big lie. And if you buy into this lie, you will believe it, and you will actually pass next to your life without existing. So basically, being an initiate is to come to the realization that we know nothing about nothing, and this actually brings this constant bliss of rediscovering who you are in reality on a constant basis. And that's true that in a way, the principle of rhythm is all about this. It's all about like having some stage of certitude where you're like, that's fine, I get it, I'm rocking. And then life would just smash you the day after, and like, oh, fuck. I thought I got it, and I did not. And that's the beauty of it. Because every time that you come into this point of certitude, it's again coming into this stillness. But again, the stillness is safe, it's secure, it's blah, 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 but it is boring. So therefore, life will come to smash it again. And it's like, oh man, I just get back into kindergarten and relearn everything again and again and again, because there's nothing else to do.
Yes, but
It's
on
all
that as
about
well, Roman, when people go, oh, I've nailed it, what is it that you've nailed? There is so much going on. What is it that you think that you've nailed? I mean, seriously.
Same difference between the question and the answer. You ask the question and people bring the answer, is like, oh, you nailed it. Yeah, you just answer one answer, but the answer just open another question.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, again, like the nail it is the answer, it's the stillness. But the stillness is not something that we can stay for a while, because the whole purpose of existence is evolution. And evolution requires to destructure the stillness, to destroy the building, to allow something new to be built just after. And it's a silly, stupid, and annoying games. But if you're not respecting this game, life will do it for you. So you better used to it. You better get used to it, and you just better getting good at it. Because as soon as you're going to good at it, you're going to go into this mastery, which will allow you to do it with more ease. Like, because that's all. Like with joy, you can bring joy and bliss and happiness, instead of being like, what mess is going to happen today, or what great achievement would I achieve? Like as useless and ephemeral this achievement will be, like there's nothing much to do. So you better enjoy it.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Anyone else? Robin?
Back in the 90s, we spent a lot of time over in New Zealand, and at that time, I can't remember what his name was, the chap who really brought the Mayan calendar to the West, but he was talking about, he wrote a book called Surface of Zavuya, and it was like that wave of energy that flows around the planet and flows in and out. And if you're able to surf these energy waves, then you know what your life is. You know how you control it, and you're on top of it in some ways. But there was a woman who was an older woman, and she was incredibly foresighted. She bought some land in Taupo, opposite the Tahara Centre, and called it Zavuya Land, and created a space there for some magic things to happen, a time shift and various other great gatherings that were held there. But the Zavuya energy is something the Mayans understood on how this all worked.
Cool.
That's it. That's it.
Thank you. Ionic, are you good? Next one. Cool. So next one is cause and effect. Every cause that has its effect, every effect has its cause. Everything happened according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escaped the law. I think we spoke a lot about this one as well tonight. Yeah, different action, induced reaction. We have cause and effect in the mentalism. We have cause and effect in correspondence. We have cause and effect in vibration. We have cause and effect in rhythm. We have like just this realization that we can't be in the effect and in the cause at the same time, but we can choose. We can choose where we want to be. So again, having the awareness of, do I want to be the victim of something, or do I want to take the responsibility for causing something? And in both cases, it's going to be pleasant and unpleasant in the same time. And that's okay. Like, deal with it. Cause and effect is a very fundamental dynamic. I also love the notion of inertia. Like when you're starting something, a lot of people don't understand that there's a difference between the realm of the mind and the realm of reality. The realm of reality is an instant realm. Like if I'm opening my fingers, like this pen will fall, and this is happening instantly. Where like, so the cause is I open my finger, the consequence is that this fall on the ground, this pen fall on the ground. In the realm of the mind, there's a whole notion of inertia, because we are all in a way causing something through our emotion, through our vibration, through our thought, through our experience, expectation, and everything. We are all putting in this dimension, this thought dimension, our whatever. And reality has to cope with everything, and allow people to experiment through the field of all that is possible what is going to match everyone's expectation. So of course, the more people will bring the same idea, the more people will resonate with the same idea, the more we're going to be able to influence reality. And this is how the dynamic works. But there's often this notion of inertia. And this is bringing us back to the principle of rhythm. Like when we want something to happen, we need to understand that there are cycles, there are things happening following a certain cycles. And like when you're going to start the thing is important, because each cycle will have different correspondence, will have different effects. Like for example, winter is more a moment of getting into the cave, where summer is more like a moment of exploring outside. If you want to create something that is more connected to exploring the world, it's better to do it in summer. But before that, you have to plant the seed in spring. Then you need to follow this rhythm, or you need to follow whatever and follow this cycle for that. Okay, so cause and effect, understanding that everything has inertia, and you don't have to understand it. You just need to feel it. When it feels right, do it. Don't think about it. Don't wait. Don't just, it feels right. I have to do it now. Okay, okay, well, I have to plan it, or I have to anticipate it and organize it so it will happen when it has to happen. Because cause and effect is it can be a very intellectual principle where people are like calculating which effect they want for the cause. It doesn't work like that. It's a principle, but it doesn't mean that it's A plus B equals C. Like the A plus B can equal to C, can equal to D, can equal to G. It would just equal to something. Okay. Each cause doesn't always generate the effect, and every effect doesn't always come from the same cause. So this is, again, another nuance in the understanding of the cause and effect. Because a lot of people get stuck into, oh, so if I want this effect, I need to generate this cause. No, it just stands that cause are inducing effect. That's it. It doesn't say that you're going to master the cause and how the cause will actually induce which effect. It never says that. It just said that nothing can escape the law, but it doesn't say that there's a direct correlation between the cause that you want to generate to have which effect that you want to experience. Okay, and this is another mistake that we can easily do. All right, principle of gender. So mental gender is the state of coexistence between masculine and feminine aspect of the human mind. Our left brain hemisphere largely facilitates the masculine aspect of the mind, or intellect, logic, analytical, and linear thought processes, while the right brain largely facilitates the feminine aspect, or intuition, creative, compassionate, and holistic thought processes. So again, every time that you hear the word masculine and feminine, masculine, think in terms of centrifugal, energy that comes from outside to inside. Hey, good to see you.
I just am not feeling well, so sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to catch the end.
Cool, great. We haven't started yet, so.
Awesome.
Perfect. And so feminine energy is centripetal. So it's the orientation, it's the direction that you put into things. To give you an example, this afternoon I was listening to something about the book, The Men Come From Mars and the Women Come From Venus. And they were all talking about how the man goes into his cave when he comes back home, and the women are just blah, 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 speaking about things because they used to externalize the pain. And I couldn't stop like seeing this pattern again, like in this philosophy, when they explain that the man is having issues during the day, and when they come back home, they just want to just be in their mind and going inside. Like when the man spend the time getting out and out and out during the whole day, as soon as he gets home, he wants to come in. Why? Because that's how you balance. And this is exactly what the principle of gender is telling about. It's a direct manifestation of the principle of correspondence, of course. That which is inside is like that which is outside. But if you're spending your time exploring, so orienting your consciousness to the outside world, you're going to create an emptiness in the inside world. So therefore, when you go home, what people do, they just look at TV, they don't want to think anything because they want their inside world to be recharged. So this is a direct manifestation of the principle of gender, that is called gender, which is basically a question of orientation. If you orientate your consciousness outside, you're going to create a gap inside. If you put too much attention inside, you're going to create a lack of manifestation outside. And this is constantly balancing. Okay, so that's another way you can look at the principle of gender. What is the orientation that you give to your care and attention and your relationship? Anyone would like to share something on this topic? Is it clear for everyone? Because I know that it's not an easy, because we unfortunately always put gender behind men and women, which is a big mistake, because like every man have a part of femininity, every woman has a part of masculinity, and even the word masculine and feminine doesn't really mean anything. It's not a proper word. Like it's especially today with all the transgender and lesbian and gay movement, like there's a whole redefinition of the principle of gender, and I kind of agree with this, as the way I see it is a way of, are we going to have a centripetal experience of reality or a centrifugal experience of reality? And this doesn't really rely to any real sexual or identity aspect. It's just about like your own relationship with reality, and no one really has anything to say about it. It's your choice. If you decide to become a man, if you're a woman, or if you're a woman and decide to become a man, that's your problem. Like no one should actually say anything about it. It's your experience. You do whatever you want. Tamara?
Yeah, I was just going to say with gender, it's like the polarity. It's you could place yourself anywhere on this circle.
Yeah, there's a relationship between gender, polarity, and correspondence, like because both of them, like the three of them, are segmenting elements. If you pay attention, you have mentalism, you have correspondence, vibration, polarity, and gender, who are all kind of separating things. And then on the other side, you have, and they are inducing mechanical movement. You have dynamic movement, like cause and effect, inducing dynamic, and you have structural principles. So some principles are structuring reality, like correspondence, for example. They are stating that there's a separation between that which is inside and that which is outside. And from this perspective, then you have the different dynamic, and the different dynamic can be cause and effect, can be vibration, can be rhythm, or can be care and attention. Because care and attention is, again, dynamic. You need to bring care and attention. Mentalism, you can be in a state of mind or you cannot. This is your choice. When you bring care and attention to your mind, this is when you start to get creative. But you can also be lost in your mind. So I don't know if you see what I mean, but there are principles who are structuring reality and some principles who give life to reality. Okay, I'll let you just think about it, because it's, again, another level of understanding how the principle can be used. But not all of them brings dynamic, and not all of them are structuring. But in the meantime, it all depends on the way you see them. Because, for example, gender is separating, segmenting that which is going out and that which is coming in. But in a way, it's also inducing dynamic. Like, how do you want to rely to reality? Do you want to go through the things, or do you want to wait for things to come to you? Okay, so you have this attack or defense. You can't do both. You have to choose one or the other. You can defend or attack. You want to go out? Do you want to come in? Do you want to like seduce someone, or do you want to be seduced by someone? And this is a choice that should be given to whatever man or woman. It's not a question of sexuality. Like the culture decided that the man has to do the first step, but this is a cultural event. If woman wasn't like completely destroyed by the guilt and by this patriarchal oppression, then maybe women would be strong enough to go and speak to men. You see what I mean? Like we need to separate the culture oppression from the natural principle which are given there. Like the principle doesn't tell you, oh, if you're a man or if you're a woman, you should do or do not. You say you have the choice. You can go out or you can come in. Okay? Yeah, there's women who are shy and there's men who are shy. There's women who are fighting and there's men who are fighting. Same. It's not a sexual attribute. It's a choice. The culture can influence it. The principle will liberate it and say, what do you want to choose? What do you want to do? And in a way, it's, yes, connected again to polarity. This is what Nick mentioned before. Do you want to become an asshole? Yes, do it. That's your choice. You're going to learn something. You're going to work on something. There's no guilt, there's no whatever value. It's an experience. And doing intensively. If you want to be an asshole, just be the worst asshole you can be. Okay, at least you're going to guarantee that you're going to learn something deep. Yeah, which is probably not to be an asshole.
Or yes, just be a natural self without worrying about either people pleasing or people pissing off. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone would like to share something on gender? All good? No, Nick?
I think I just want to share that I found of all of them, this the most, the least simple, or the most dynamic, probably would be a better word. Remembering the presentation that we watched last week, how this is expressed was very impressive. Like it blew me away, getting a better understanding of how this principle is defined and expressed.
Are you referring to the human body, like how, like the whole human body incorporate this coming in, coming out, in front, behind, and
definitely that, and the brain characteristics that feed into behavioral characteristics as well. But the thing that you mentioned with the centrifugal and the centripetal expressions of it, the in and the out, and I'm pretty sure it was gender, or maybe it was polarity. No, it was gender, where you said where like existence and expansion, started at a point, and it had to go in opposite directions. And I've been
it was it was last week with the quantum physics.
Yeah, it was.
Every time that a particle goes in one direction, the other particle doesn't have any other choice than going into the opposite direction, which is entirely confirming the principle of polarity and the principle of gender from a quantum physics perspective.
Yeah, that's definitely been one that I've pondered, gender. And so I don't really have anything to say, because integrating it has been, well, I'm still doing it, like I'm still gripping that one. And
a good movie is a movie called Unbreakable. I think it's called Unbreakable. I don't know if you remember about it. There was Will Smith, who was this kind of invincible guy who never died or couldn't get killed or couldn't aging and something. And he just suddenly one day looked for, if he was invincible, then there must be someone in the world that is breakable.
Yeah.
And he actually found like Samuel L. Jackson. So he was white, the other one was black. He was good, and the other one was evil. And it was a way from Hollywood perspective to induce some wisdom through some superheroes movies. And I'm sure all of us like look at it being like, oh, that's an interesting thing, but it actually have a much, much deeper purpose, like bringing like this self-awareness about like this polarity. In a way, it's polarity and it's gender in the meantime, because it's actually defining the direction. And if you want to go deeper into the orientation, like the word orient, the first two letters of the word orient, and I hope Ayo will understand what it means, is O and R. And O in French is referring to the elements of water, and R is referring to the element of air.
Yeah,
Okay, the element of air, air. So the or, and the word or is actually gold in French.
Okay.
So the element of water is referring to O, the O, letter O, like drinking water in French. So do you want to drink de l'eau? So O is literally water, and the air is literally air. Like the R is literally air. So the O and R, which are the first two letters of the word orientation, orientation, or you also have it in Orion, the constellation of Orion, which is indicating the stars that you had to follow to see the birth of Jesus and blah, blah, blah. Like he has this all double language embedded into words. So the orientation has to do with the goal, which is O and R, the reunification of R symbolizing the mind and O symbolizing the heart. So the real goal of the alchemist is the reunification of O water and R, air, which are the mind and the heart reunifying into one.
Yeah, all right.
So orientation has a much, much deeper meaning when you start to go deep into the esoteric understanding. Like, this word is not any word. And this is the word that also indicates the direction, the orientation in life. Okay, how can you position yourself? Which decision are you going to make? And to have the right orientation, okay, which is constantly a balance between what is inside and what is outside, you need to reunify the O, which is the heart, and the R, which is the mind.
Okay.
Okay, so you can again bring a second level in the understanding of the gender. But by saying that, I already introduced you to the advanced course on like double reading and bringing different layers of understanding through the ancient ways of related to reality. Okay. So like the words has been used to encode wisdom, meaning, like you just see one level of understanding. The more you're going to get deep into it, and the more it's going to open, like Ayo mentioned before, like between reading the letters and creating words, like it's a whole different game, and it's very, very, very interesting.
Epic. Okay. Right
Okay.
on.
So orientation, water and R, heart and mind, direction, going in, coming out. And when you orient yourself in reality, it's actually being on the path. Okay. So you can see how, like, finding the right tuning in the principle of gender between what you feel inside and what you want outside, between what you want to explore and what you want to receive, is what is going to drive your orientation. It's going to be your compass.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So that helps me differentiate gender and polarity.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a very important nuance, because if you look at polarity as a bracelet, so okay, which direction do I choose? Okay, it's the notion of direction that is there, because you have a direction, horizontal plane direction. Okay, you can oscillate around it, but you can also coming in and coming out of it. Yeah. So that's what brings the third dimension.
Yeah. Okay.
And certainly you can see between our correspondence, which is inside and outside, polarity, which is a plane, okay, and gender, that is vertical axis, coming in, coming out.
Yeah.
So if you want, correspondence is the X, polarity is the Y, and then gender is the Z. So it creates the third layers.
That's cool. Yeah. That actually answers a question I wouldn't have known when to slip in, but yeah, probably what we're about to get into, which is the numbers and the shapes, and
that's what we're going to do right now.
Yeah.
Any other question about gender? We're good. So principle of care to finish before we go into the numbers. So principle of care is also called the loss principle. Someone said something. Oh, sorry. It has to go to bed now. Damn it. Just starting to go in the interesting part. Anyway, it's going to be recorded, so I'll send you the recording. Thank you for coming. Hope it was a good refresher.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So the loss principle is the dynamic of care. What we care about on a day-to-day basis acts as the driving force of our thoughts and actions. Therefore, care can be seen as the ultimate generator of the quality of our experience. This principle has often been referred to as the generative principle. So again, everything that we mentioned before couldn't work if there wasn't care and attention brought to it. Okay, everything that we mentioned before is actually pushed by the care and by the attention that we bring to all of them. So this is a fundamental dynamic principle. Okay, it's the one that gives life to the dynamic of any principle. The word generative is derived from the Latin verb generare, which means to create. What we care enough about to put our will behind is ultimately what gets created in our world. The world is the way that it is because most people do not care enough even if they say they want things to be different, to change it through their actions. And if you pay attention tonight, like when we're starting this course, there was like maybe 8 or 9 people, and tonight we're only 5. So like the care and attention that you give to this knowledge is what is changing you. It's what transforming you. If you do not bring care and attention to it, then you're not going to feel the result. You're not going to, and this reminds me of a question that Nick Teron said last time where, oh, is it going to be a recipe to integrate this knowledge? And basically I said, the only recipe that I know is that you have to do it. Like you have to give the time and attention to each of them to allow those principles to be installed into yourself and starting to see reality through them. So suddenly the magic can happen, but no one else than yourself can do it. I can only show you the path. I can only show you the way that I already been through. But if you're not doing the work of bringing them into your life, if you're not bringing the care and attention to it, no one will. There's no way around. So thank you all for doing this work, because it makes a lot of sense to me. Like that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this work to helping people bringing to this level of awareness. So thank you for caring and bringing your attention to what I shared over the last few weeks. I hope you're not too tired, because now we're going into the sacred arithmetic aspect, finally, after all this time. I built the expectation over 5 weeks, so I hope you're not going to be disappointed. So we're going to start with a video about mirrored numbers. So this is just to stretch a little bit your perception of what numbers are and the relationship that they have with you. So let's begin.
Base 10 is a perfectly balanced mirror image system. Most fail to see this basic property of our numbers because we've been taught to think sequentially rather than bilaterally. Consider our hands with an imaginary mirror between the thumbs. Notice how every pair of matched fingertips adds to 11. Nature exists in mirrored pairs, and numbers can reflect nature. Base 10 mirrors the anatomy of our physical digits. So
I'm just going to give you a second just to double check this, because it's very important that you double check everything that I'm going to show you. So like if you take the 1 and the 10, you have 11. 9 plus 2 equal 11. 3 plus 8 equal 11. 7 plus 4 equal 11. 5 plus 6 equal 11. All right?
The central axis between our thumbs is 5.5, which is half of 11 and equidistant between each pair. Both 11 and 5.5 are mirror image numbers. Each is expressed outwardly from a central axis. Thinking bilaterally is about balance. In the previous example, we were actually measuring a value of 9 between digits 1 and 10. 11 was the result of adding duplicate 1s. Let's throw out those sidelining 1s altogether and think in terms of 0 through 9.
So can you please do this exercise? So before it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 10 divided, so 11 was the numbers that was appearing when you were combining the two numbers, and 11 divided by 2 is 5.5, okay? If we're starting by the left pinky being 0, then suddenly we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So therefore, each numbers will actually be equal to 9. Like 9 plus 0 equal 9, 1 plus 8 equal 9, 2 plus 7 equal 9, 6 plus 3 equal 9, and 4 plus 5 equal 9. So therefore, the medium will be 9 divided by 2, which is 4.5. Everyone agree? Everyone understand? Robin? Yes? Yes? Chloe? Yes? All right, cool.
New midpoint, 4.5, lacks the mirrored quality of 5.5, but we gain far more. Our paired sums now equal 9, the maximum value of the system. 4.5 now reflects the values of our thumb digits. Base 10 reveals itself as a system balanced by 9. 9 has perfect symmetry within base 10. To illustrate this, let's assign the first 10 multiples of 9 to our fingers, left to right. A profound relationship emerges. The right hand is a reflection of the left. All 10 digits are represented here. There are no other digits in the base 10 system. Each is duplicated only once and in the exact mirror image of its counterpart on the opposite hand.
So can you see this? 0990, so 0990, 1 and 8, 81, 72, 27, 3663, 4554. So you have a perfect imagery happening. Yes,
and they all equal 9. If you add all of those numbers up, they all equal 9.
And if you add all those numbers together, 4 plus 5 equal 9, 5 plus 4 equal 9, 6 plus 3 equal 9, 3 plus 6 equal 9, 2 plus 7 equal 9, 7 plus 2 equal 9. So we have suddenly something that wasn't there before. Okay, I really need you to be focused on what is happening now, because it's very, very important. And you're going to see how it's related to all the course that you've been through over the last 5 weeks.
Note also the sum of each fingertip equals 9. Every number in base 10 has a unique balance with relation to the whole.
Any question about it? All clear? Okay, so this operation of additioning the numbers together is something called gematria. So gematria is a specific language that was used essentially in Hebrew and in different alphabet. They were attributing letters to numbers to letters. So for example, the A was 1, the B was 2, the C was 3. And they were actually starting to play like secret codes in the Bible and in the Torah, like translating Hebrew letters in values, and the values were actually indicating mathematical relationship. So we're not going to go too deep into it. We're just going to scratch the surface of it. So gematria is originated as an Assyro-Babylonian Greek system of alphanumeric code, cipher letter adopted into Jewish culture that assign numerical value to a word, name, phrase, in the belief that words or phrase are with identical numerical value bear some relation to each other, or bear some relation to the number itself, as it may apply to nature, a person's age, a calendar year, or the like. So I don't know if you're very familiar with numerology, but this is what numerology is also doing, like associating numbers in a specific way, creating root number. So when you're additioning the day of your birth, the month of your birth, and the year of your birth, it creates a number, and this number is what is called a root number, and is attached and has properties and connected to astrology and different type of divination. This is the kind of work that we will go through in the advanced course, in the tarology course and astrology course, and it's all related to what you've been through so far. So the way it works is like 12, for example, can be decomposed as 1 plus 2, and 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. Another example is 55. So 55 is decomposed at 5 plus 5, and 5 plus 5 equal 10, which is 1 plus 0, and 1 plus 0 equal 1. So the digital root of 55 is 1. Like, pay attention to it, because you're going to have to do the exercise after. Okay, so get very familiar with it, because it's a very simple gymnastic. 55, 5 plus 5, 10 is 1. Next example, 34, 3 plus 4, 7. You know, it's very not complicated, very, very simple. 46, 4 plus 6, 10, 10 is 1. Okay. So what you see now is the table of multiplication. Okay, I hope you're all familiar with them. Okay, so here you have the table of multiplication, and here you have the multipliant. So basically what you see in white here are the table of multiplication, and here you have the axis and the coordinates. So what I'm asking you right now is, can you please pointing to me the 7 principles on this table of multiplication? Any of you has an idea how to manifest the 7 hermetic principles, the 8 hermetic principles, into those table of multiplication? Anyone has an idea? Chloe?
Do the principle of rhythm if you go down the column of 9s, because there's a pattern.
What do you mean?
If you go down the table of 9s, every one of those numbers equals 9.
So 9, 18 is 9, 2 plus 7 is 9, 36 is 9, 45 is 9, 54 is 9.
Would that be the principle of rhythm? that it's following a pattern. Those numbers are syncing up to be the root of its same.
So the principle of rhythm will stand that to be able to arrive to this rhythm, you need to pass through a certain cycle. And unfortunately, there's no cycle. All the numbers equal to 9.
Oh, so I don't know what the principle would be, but I know that it's something.
So indeed, we have the manifestation of a principle here.
Then polarity, because they're all circling back to the same thing.
So in that case, it would be maybe mentalism in that case, maybe. Maybe. Any other idea? Do you see anything else? Can you start to understand, like, yes, Tamara, what do you want to say? Just say it.
Oh, just in that column, if we're going to focus on that column, would be correspondence.
Why?
Well, because it's starting with the 9, and it doesn't matter how high it goes back to 9, doesn't it?
In this column here, the table of multiplication by 9, correspondence?
Yes.
I see what you mean. Yes, in a way, we can say indeed that that which is in the 9 is like that which is in the 18. That which is in the 27 is like that which is in the 9. So yeah, in a way, we can see principle of correspondence. Yes. How can you see the principle of gender, for example?
Of gender?
Yeah. Starting to get a bit complicated. Because 9, like even the table of multiplication by 9, and right now, like what you're focusing on is already gematria. What I'm asking
maybe
you,
the shape.
What I'm asking you first is about just focusing on the table of multiplication. Don't think gematria yet. Okay, table of multiplication. What Chloe did already is to go through the gematria. But if you didn't see the gematria, if you don't considering additioning the numbers together, like the table of multiplication by 9 doesn't mean anything. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 59, 4. If you're not considering the gematria, this doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
So maybe the gender is the shape of the actual numbers.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. What about vibration?
5.
5, yes.
I would say 5 if you're talking about the law of gender, because you have the odd numbers and the even numbers that go back and forth. So the zeros can be the feminine and the ones can be the masculine.
Yes, it's a way to look at it, yes. But you see how it's not obvious, it's not easy. Like correspondence, vibration, gender, like you can guess, but it's not obvious. So what we're going to do now as an exercise is to transforming this table of multiplication as a base 9 system. So like by using gematria. So what is called base 9, which is in this picture now manifest into B9. So B9, base 9. What I want you to do on the side of it, so you can do it mentally, is to tell me what's going to be the gematria writing of the column that is on the left. Okay, so the column on the left right now is table of multiplication by 1. If you can see, do you see my mouse? Can you see my mouse on the screen? Yeah. Yes. Okay, so this line here is table of multiplication by 1. So 1 times 1 equals 1, 2 times 1 equals 2, 3 times 1 equals 3, 4 times 1 equals 4. Okay, so what would be the gematria writing or numerology writing of the table of multiplication by 1? Who would like to try? Chloe, do you want to start?
So just going down the line, you would have 1 through 9 not changing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, yeah. And then?
Right. And then
10 would be what?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 again.
Here we go. So what is happening now? What do you see here happening? Now you have your cycle.
Rhythm.
Right, and it repeats.
Now you have your rhythm that is starting to unfold under your eyes. You couldn't see the rhythm before, but as soon as you're starting just with the table of multiplication by 1, you're starting to see a cycle. After 18, what is happening? 19. 19 is 1 plus 9 equals 10, which is 1. You go back to 1. Then 20 is 2 plus 0, which is 2. 21 is 2 plus 1, 3. 22 is 2 plus 2, 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up to the infinite. Okay, so you have a cycle. You have a cycle that is happening, and principle of the cycle is referring to the principle of rhythm. Who wants to do the second line?
Yeah, I can.
All right.
So it's 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yep.
1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8. 6, 8. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Is that interesting? 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Pretty.
Okay. After 36, what do we have? 37. 37 equals 3 plus 7 equals 10, which is 1.
1.
Sorry. No, it wasn't 37. 36. 38. 38. So 38 is 3 plus 8. 11, and 11 is 1 and 1, 2. And then we go back into 2. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So we have again the principle of rhythm that is there. Interesting. Nick, do you want to do the next one?
I want to. I would love to be. I'm panicking with my numbers. Is it
Right.
all? The first one could all be 3s. So 3, they're all.
Do you understand what we're doing, or are you a little bit lost?
I followed the first 2, and now I'm on my turn, and I've.
So this is the table of multiplication by 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. So what would be the base 9, the gematria, numerology expression of it?
So below the line would be 6, 9, 3, 6. Is that right?
And then go for it. Like, where are you? Like.
Oh, okay. Then 3, 6, 9, 3.
Yeah.
And then 4, 5, 6, 9, 3, and 6. How'd I do? Yes.
3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9.
Yeah, right. Wild.
Okay, 42, 4 plus 2, 6. 45, 4 plus 5, 9. 48, 4 plus 8, 12, which is 2 plus 1, 3. 51, 6. 4 plus 5, 9, and so on.
Cool.
So what do we see compared to the 2 first one? There's again the principle of rhythm, but the rhythm seems to be different.
Yeah.
There's a different property in the table of multiplication by 3 compared to the table of multiplication by 1 and 2. Understand? The number 9 comes every 3 iteration, where in the table of multiplication by 1 and by 2, the number 9 comes every 9 iteration. It's called an iteration, like it's a fractal manifestation of something. Make sense?
Yeah, fractal, yeah.
Robin, do you want to do the table of multiplication by 4?
No.
No? You're not good with numbers? Do you understand what we do, or are you lost? Tell me.
No, I'm understanding it.
Okay. You don't want to try?
No.
Okay. Anyone else want to do it, or do I have to do it? Yes, Tamara?
Yeah, so 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9.
Yes.
4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9.
Wow, very impressive. 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9. 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9. Bravo. So indeed, we see the same pattern, 4837261159, 4837261159. Isn't that interesting? Chloe, do you want to do table multiplication by 5?
Sure. So 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, 3, 8, 4, 9, 5, 1, 6. Yeah, 1, 6, 2. Yeah.
So 65, 6 plus 5, 11, which is 2, 7.
Yeah.
7 plus 5 equals 12, which is 3, 8, 4, 9. 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, 3, 8, 4, 9. 5, 1, 6, 2, 3, 7, 3, 8, 4, 9. Nick, table multiplication by 6. Oh, damn it.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I got it now. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Oh, no. Right. Got ya. So, I thought I was going to be able to cheat. Damn it. So 6, 3, 9, 6, 3, 9, 6,
3,
3, 9, 6, 3, 9. I see what's going on here. It's a 6390. There we go. Wow.
That's like Tesla's numbers, right?
The 6 and 3 are like the Tesla's numbers. Yeah, they're
Right.
bringing 369, 369, 369. Yes. Isn't that interesting? So table of multiplication by 1, 2, 4, and 5 bring this 9 cycle number sequence. And table of multiplication by 3 and by 6 bring a 3 cycle 9 system. So the number 9 comes every 3 cycles. Tamara, table of multiplication by 7? Or Chloe?
Yeah, 7, 5, 3, 1, 8, 6, 4.
Yeah.
1, 9, 7.
It was 2. It was 2 after 4. 4, 2.
Oh, right. Sorry. 3, 9, 7, 5. What is that? 12, 3, 1. Yeah.
8, 6, 4, 2, 9. 7, 5, 3, 1, 8, 6, 4, 2, 9. 7, 5, 3, 8, 1, 8, 6, 4, 2, 9. Okay. Robin, do you want to try the table of multiplication by 8? It's a very simple one.
All right. 8, 7, 6,
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Easy.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's an easy one, no? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 9. 8, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 9. What is important is not to look at the solution. What is important is to see and double check that everything is true. Okay? It's not being the best, it's integrating the meaning of it. So 104 is 4 plus 1 equals 5. 112, 2 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. 120, 1 plus 2 equals 3. So like we all agree that this is how it operates. And as we all know already, table of multiplication by 9 is 9999999. All right. Now what I want you to do is I'd like to look at every base 9 table of multiplication. And I'd like you now to identify the principle of polarity. Oh, let's start with an easier one, principle of correspondence. Where the principle of correspondence is manifested. All right, I'm going to help you. That which is in the vertical is like that which is in the horizontal. All right, Tamara, go for it.
Yeah, I was about to just say that because I just tracked a couple of lines and I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. So yeah.
Go for it.
Well, where it was saying 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7. That
2,
is
4,
also
6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Yep, exactly. Is the
Table of multiplication
vertical
by 2.
B9 2 4 6 8 1 3 5 7 9.
Okay. An easier one is starting with table of multiplication by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Horizontally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, there you go. I missed the easy one.
Yeah, very good that you already remember the table of multiplication by 2. Right. 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. Horizontally 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. That which is vertical is like that which is horizontal. Okay, 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9. 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9.
Plus, if you look at 9 as a base, right? So if you're
Yep.
baseline 9, then as above, so below, because it's also reciprocal.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so we already saw the principle of rhythm with a cycle. Who is going to see the principle of polarity? If it is, maybe it's not.
Ah, yes. So if I start at the top left and go down, and then at the bottom right and go up, they're in reverse.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But if he works with this one, he must work with everything. Can you double check for me?
So B9 2 4 6 8, and then 2 4 6 8 1 2 3, and then
So
the greenies.
table of multiplication by 2.
Yeah, and by
If you
3.
go the backward
by
of the
6.
table of multiplication by 7, you actually see the same pattern. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. So
And
3 and 6 are backwards to each other, and the blues indeed. 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9. 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9. Nick?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
It's only numbers.
I
It's
totally
only
saw the first one. Tamara pointed out. Second one was coming. Where was the second one? Point the second one out again.
Check out the colors. Look at the colors.
Corresponding purples in reverse direction.
Oh, okay.
Corresponding oranges in reverse direction.
7, 3, 6, 7. No. Purples. Tripping.
So table of multiplication by 2 and 7. So if you look at the color, this is the back color. You have an orange color here, an orange color there.
Yep.
So I put the color to help you to see them.
Okay, there's the orange.
Okay, the green and the green. 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. 6, 3, 9, 6, 3, 9, 6, 3, 9.
Oh, cool, cool.
Okay, and the blue, 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5. 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5.
Okay. Yeah, right on. Yeah.
And it's on the horizontal as well.
Yeah, yep. It just clicked. Cool.
You're going too fast, Tamara.
Sorry.
Yeah, I see. 7, 5, 3, 1, 7, 5, 3, 1. Yeah.
Robin, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yes.
I can explain it to you if you need, Robin. Maybe not. I've got it dialed.
Now I can see this the way it's going to up the top and 2, 4, 6, 8, and then at the bottom 2, 4, 6, 8, and then the third line 3, 6, 9.
3, 6, 9 on
And
the
the
6.
third line from the bottom 3, 6, 9. So, you know, the above and below are the polarities as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into now we warm up a little bit. So now we're gonna look for the principle of cause and effect.
Cause and effect. Well, that's just adding the numbers together.
That's a good point. That's a very good point indeed. The principle of arithmetic is directly an expression of the principle of cause and effect. 1 plus 1 equal 2 is cause and effect. But there's another layers of cause and effect in this chart. I want to see if you're going to see it. Anyone has an idea?
Well, I'm just looking at it as just the top half being the cause, the bottom half being the effect, and I say that because
no, this is principle of vibration,
It's
rhythm.
something to do with the 9. It keeps looping back or something.
Yes, yes, it is.
uh,
So where is it?
Well, there's the pattern, obviously, that's appearing with the 9. It's like a blip. Do, 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 blip. Do, 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 blip.
All right, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help with this one. So principle of cause and effect is standing that everything has its cause and everything has its effect. So what you do is by combining the two different elements of of the same line. So for example, you have on a table of multiplication by 4, you have the first two numbers are 4 and 5. 4 plus 5 equal
9.
8 plus 1 equal
9.
6 plus 3
9.
7 plus 2 7
9.
plus 2 6 and 3 8 and 1 5 and 4 9 and 9 18, which is 9. Okay, let's check with the 6 and 3. 3 plus 6 equal
9.
6 and 3 and 6
9.
9 and 9
9.
6 and 3 3 and 6 9 and 9 3 and 6 6 and 3 and so on. 2 plus 7
I'm getting it.
5 and 4 6 and 3 1 and 8 1 and 8 6 and 3 5 and 4 2 and 7. And finally 1 and 8 7 and 2 3 and 6 5 and 4 4 and 5 3 and 6 7 and 2 1 and 8. So when you addition the two reverse number, all of them will actually be equal to 9. But if we're following the principle of correspondence, that which is horizontal is like that which is vertical is like that which is horizontal. Therefore, if I'm looking at, for example, number 7 and number 2, 7 plus 2 equal
9.
6 and 3
9.
8 and 1
9.
5 and 4
9.
and same for all the numbers. You see 6 3 9 9 and 9 18, which is 9 6 and 3 6 and 3. And it's working with this axe of symmetry here as it's working with this axe of symmetry here. 8 and 1 9 2 and 7 6 and 3 4 and 5 7 and 2 4 and 5 3 and 6 8 and 1. Okay, so just to help you to visualize it, I will remove all the ancient table of multiplication, the white one, to show you what I call the multiplication matrix. So those are basically the patterns. And those patterns are subdivided by this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, and so on. What do you feel? What do you think?
It's a bit like a Sudoku.
Yeah, Sudoku is based on 9, yes. So something interesting here is that if you're looking at the square here, and if you reverse in diagonal, you get exactly the same square here. Okay. And the square below, this one here, is exactly complementary. and will be exactly the diagonal image of this one here. Okay, 2, 2, 6, 6, 1, 1, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5. So there's a perfect square matching this perfect square here, which is manifesting the principle of polarity, correspondence in a way, expressed into every aspect of it.
Correspondence, definitely, because the 4 inner squares are mirrored by the outer numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's correspondence there.
There's correspondence, there's polarity, there's all the principles that we saw are actually embedded into this. Why that? Because if they were not, those principles were not true. If they are true, they need to be real and true at every aspect of creation, including mathematics, including arithmetics. And the only way that we couldn't see them before is because of the decimal system. As soon as we jump out of the decimal system, we see those principles being unveiled and revealed to us. So again, the change of perspective, the change of relationship with reality is going to reveal beauty and order, or is going to reveal chaos. Because I don't know if you feel it already, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, it's producing chaos because it doesn't reveal order. It's creating infinite sequence of number that doesn't have any of those principles encoded into it. So it can't actually express the beauty of creation.
So what is its purpose?
I don't know what you think.
Well, chaos.
Yeah.
If that's what it's expressing, then
like if you think about it,
that's what it is.
Where are we using the decimal system in our civilization?
Currency.
Money, yeah. What else?
Distance.
Distance. What else?
Weight.
What else? We use it for everything. Our whole relationship with reality. What is science? What is the definition of science? What can be measured? The observation and the quantification of what can be measured. How do we measure reality?
Ooh, good question.
Length, distance, time.
Exactly. And all those distance, weight, currency, all measurement are based on decimal system. All of them. And if the decimal system doesn't reveal the order, the sub-level order of creation, what is going to be the relationship that we're going to have with reality?
Disorder.
Disorder, chaotic, yes. You start to understand what it means? If the tool that we're using to define the relationship that we have with reality doesn't show the order, the cycle, and everything like this, then therefore we are doomed by the tool that we are using to construct the perception that we have of reality.
How old is the decimal system?
As old as this civilization is.
Which civilization?
Call it the like Assyro-Babylonian, Indo, post, like.
So you're basically saying that we've started on the wrong foot. I'm feeling a little bit rigged here.
And guess what? One of the first things that you're teaching to kids is counting 1 to 10. So this is one of the deepest level of indoctrination that we are teaching to our kids. As soon as we teach the kids that you don't have 5 fingers and 5 fingers, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, 10 fingers. It's done. It's finished. They're not going to be able, the principle of polarity, between your two hands. They're not going to see the principle of rhythm. They're not going to see the principle of gender, masculine 5 and feminine 5. They're going to be blurred into the decimal system. Guess what is the roots of decimal system? Decimating, separating.
Well, then it's done by design, because all of the people that run this world have been schooled in this in the mystery school, so they're aware of it, and that's why a lot of the architecture is still following sacred geometry. They know. So why do you think? I mean, I guess it's for a whole nother conversation, but this is done by design, it's not random.
It's not. I don't have to answer this question. Like that's not me. Like I'm just pointing to you. Like now it's you who have to make your own research, and light it with this new perception.
There's two realities going on. There's two, and there's the orderly one that's calling the shots and creating what they want to create, and then there's the misinformation that's given to the rest of us for confusion and chaos and despair and control.
And they're programming us from the early age to see the world this way. Because if we were taught those principles when we were kids, we will not grow up this way.
So what about the 12 that used to be before it was changed to the decimal, the dozens?
Some people were using 12. 12 has a whole different energy.
That's what we used to be here before it was changed to the decimal.
No, because 12 isn't 12. 12 is actually the first harmonic of 3.
Yes.
It has a whole, I can't speak about it now, but 12 is a resonance of 3. It's a different, how can I explain in a simple way? 12 is 2 plus 1, 3, okay, you understand. You understand that when, another way to look at, for example, okay, I'm going back to the previous page. What is the difference between 1 and 10?
0.
It's the 0 that you put next to it, yes. Both of them, 1 is 1, 10 is 1 and 0, so it's 1. 19 is again 1 plus 9, and it's 1. But what is the difference between 1, 10, 19, 28, 37, and all that? What is the difference between them? Because we can't say, yes, there is. Yes, there is. It's not because the digital root is the same, that the expression of it is the same. Don't make this mistake. The cause is the same, the effects are different. Okay.
Well, numerologically, they all have different properties.
Exactly. They all have different properties. Why? Because they're not the same. 19 is not the same as 10.
Right, okay.
Okay, the difference is it's an harmonic of it. It's like in music. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, 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 do. Both of them are the same do. They're not the same do. Both of them are do, but they are not the same. One is vibrating at the harmonic, and the other one is the lower harmonic. And you can go lower and lower and lower, or you can go higher and higher and higher. They would all have the same geometry, because cymatically, when you are increasing the frequency by harmonics, you are getting a more complex pattern, but they will all have a different pattern. You will get more complex. You will probably embed a certain geometry that you can actually find into the primordial one, but all of them will get more and more and more complex. So we can't say that 19 is the same as 10 or 10 is the same as 1. They're all related to 1, but they all have their own personality.
Because they're a different vibration.
Because they are in a different vibration, a different octave, or more precisely, different nonav. But it's the base 9.
A different, what is it called?
Nonav.
Can you spell that?
Octave is 8, octo,
yeah.
and 9 is a nov. So nonav.
Oh, N-O-N-A-V-E.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not octave, it's nonave. Or nonave. Okay, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so when you start to look at reality this way, Like, first of all, it's confirming every aspect of the seventh principle, but it actually reordering reality in a more elegant way. So instead of saying like infinite sequence that doesn't exist, like infinity doesn't exist in a finite space, infinity is inside the finite space. Remember that when we talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1,000, 2,000, 1 billion, 1 giga, like this can't exist in a finite reality. Except if they want us to believe that there's an infinite reality, if they want us to believe that there's infinity in space. And this brings us back to the topic of the flat Earth. Can you start to see how all this is connected? Because if there's a flat Earth, then therefore there's no universe. But if you believe that in infinity through the metrology that you're using, metrology is the base number that you're using, the decimal system, and therefore it would be easier for you to believe in infinity. Infinity can exist inside or outside. But if it exists outside, it's not in your plane. It's a different plane. Take a deep breath. Any question, comments? All good?
I have a question, but it's simmering at the moment. It's got to do with the vibration of the numbers, because the numbers are just symbols. It's just what we apply them to.
Yep.
I don't know where I'm going yet, but let's just continue.
Yes, so that's something that we're just going to cover now. But you already have a very good intuition, yes. Because we haven't spoke about yet the principle of gender in numbers.
Here's 1 balanced with its mirrored self, 10. And 2 balanced with 20. Note the point of equilibrium.
So again, when we look at, so how to find the point of equilibrium, 20 plus 2 equals 22, 22 divided by 2 equals 11. Okay, so that's how you find the point of equilibrium.
Of each scale is a mirror image number. From one scale to the next, the fulcrum.
Okay, 10 plus 1 equals 11, 11 divided by 2, 5.5.
Rises by a factor of 5.5, a reflection of our hands. This is consistent throughout the system. 9 provides the balance for each scale. 5.5 could be interpreted as 5 plus 5, which reduces to 1, the parent number of its scale. Likewise, 11 could be interpreted as 1 plus 1, or 2, the parent number of its scale. This idea of summing the digits of a multi-digit number is called reducing, or finding the digital root. It is a common practice in our new paradigm. Here's 3 analyzed against its mirrored self, 30. Note 12, 1 plus 2, is a mirror of 21, 2 plus 1. Both equal 3. 16.5 also sums to 3. 1 plus 6 plus 5 is 12, and 12 reduces to 3.
So 16.5 come from 30 plus 3, 33. And 33 divided by 2 equals 16.5. 16.5 can be written as 1 plus 6 plus 5, which is 12, and 12 is actually 1 plus 2, which is 3.
Three is the digital root throughout its entire scale. 16.5 is not a mirrored number, but it's only one step away from revealing its reflective nature. 16.5 could be reorganized as 66 by summing the outer 1 and 5. Or consider the center digit 6 as 5 plus 1, then redistribute the digits for balance. 1551 or 5115 are now possible. Consequently, these numbers are inverted palindromes of 1221 and 2112, the previous mirrored pair in the series. Please take a moment to perform your own digital root analysis of this central fulcrum in all its possible combinations. You'll find the same result regardless of digital.
So 16.5, So we are in a base 3. We are in a digital root of 3. So 16.5. 1 plus 6 plus 5 equals 12. So 1 plus 5 plus 1. So 6 is split into 5 plus 1. 1 plus 5 plus 1 plus 5 equals 12. 1 plus 4 plus 2, so 6 can also be written as 4 plus 2. 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 5 equals 12. 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5 equals 12. 1.6 plus 1. So every digital root that you're going to split will systematically bring you back to the same root, no matter how much you fractionate it. What does it remind you as a principle? Correspondence. The more you segment and fractal an aspect, you will always have the same outside aspect. So you can have infinity embedded into finite space. Again, 16.5, 165 can be written in 12 or 15 different ways. It will always be equal to 3. So the digital root, which is the 3, the finite space, can be embedding infinite amount of the same information. Okay? I told you to get ready for tonight. I told you, like, be ready. It's taking a lot of energy to process this.
Make a variation or sequence of calculation. Summing is a perfect science. Every pair of digits is a mirror reflection. Notice how the fulcrum and all the components reduce to 4. The scale for 5 and 50 is balanced, and with one reduction of its center digit, 27.5 can become a mirrored number. 6 displays perfect balance with its mirrored self. 33 and all the other components here reduced to 6. The same is true for 7. Each mirrored pair is separated by a distance of 9. 3 plus 8 plus 5 equals 16, which reduces to 7. 8 demonstrates the same symmetry. The center of 8's scale is also a mirrored number. Note the distance from each fulcrum to the next is always 5.5, the natural mirrored arrangement of our hands. Every fulcrum is a mirror image number, or can be arranged into one with one reduction of its center digit. 9 stands alone because its behavior is unique. Notice how 9 inserts itself at the center of its own scale between 4 and 5. 9 becomes the exclusive representative of the scale's center. If we expand the scale by an additional 9 in both directions, we find the internal relationships remain undisturbed. Of all the numbers, only 9 maintains perfect spatial proportion throughout the system. Notice how this scale implies 99 is a mirror of 0. 9 reveals itself as transparent, that is to say, it does not express value by virtue of its balanced unity. In this way, it functions exactly like 0. It's also the infinite maximum of the system. Notice how additional 9s placed at the end of 9 are absorbed into the center. 9 simultaneously represents the beginning, middle, and end of base 10. Imagine 9 and 0 wrapping around a circle to meet at the top. The point of intersect is unreachable because 9 and 0 both represent the absence of value. They are infinite, just like the circle's center.
Does it remind you something?
Pyramid.
Pyramid, yeah. And the relationship between 0 and 9, how do you feel it?
Polarity.
Polarity, yes. 9 being the all, and 0 being the nothingness.
Are you also at this point jumping into the gender where 0 is feminine and 9 is masculine?
Not at this point, no. Because feminine and masculine has a different aspect. But if you follow the principle of gender, you can look at it, yes. Because what nothingness? Nothingness is the absence of anything. So you go in, and this is a feminine aspect. Or 9 is that the all, that which is, and then you have to go out and you have the masculine aspect. So you can use it through the gender if you want to, but this is not yet what I wanted to show you.
In this way, a circle perfectly models the properties of any number system. The decimal system, our base 10 system, is enclosed and centered by 9.
Is enclosed and centered by 9. So no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So now we're going to look at the shape of the numbers. So in the Holy Bible, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. And you're starting to feel principle of, what is it?
Duality.
Sorry?
Duality.
Polarity. Yeah. So we can see light and darkness, polarity. God called light day, and the darkness he called night, and there was evening and there was morning one day. Evening and morning creates cycle. Cycle is principle of rhythm. You understand that the Bible is a metaphorical explanation of the table of Thoth, the emerald tablets.
Cool.
Yeah, again, through a different way to express it. Then God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the water, and let it separate the water from the water." Let it be an expanse in the midst of the water. What it mean?
The firmament.
Firmament, yes. And it let separate the waters from the waters. Water from above, from the water from below. Principle of correspondence.
Correspondence.
God make the expanse and separate the waters which were below and expanse from the water which were above the expanse, and it was so. Like, more clear than that, I don't know what to say. Like, this is an esoteric language embedded into the Bible and many, many ancient texts. God called the expanse heaven, and there was evening and there was morning a second day. Again, principle of rhythm. So this is the water from above, and this is the water from below. But in between, what do we have? The horizon. So the horizon is what is separating what is above from what is below. And guess what? Humans are evolving on the horizon. We are not evolving in the sky. We are not evolving under the waters. We are evolving on the horizon. And that's where we have the free will to choose to go up, or the free will to choose to go down. Go up towards the sun, or go down towards the earth. Go up towards the light, or goes down towards physicality. Okay, so if we use this horizontal line to separate what is above from what is below, there will be two ways to reach above and below, because there's always two energies, duality, polarity. One will be masculine and the other one will be feminine. So if we're using the masculine energy, we're going to symbolize the masculine energy as a straight line. Okay, this is what we saw through the principle of gender. Straight line pointing up, straight line pointing down. And if we put one more straight line in between, we're going to create what I call the twin brothers. Why that? Because we have the number 4 and the number 7. Okay, created by straight line. But if it's working with straight line, it must also work with curve. The curve is pointing up, the curve is pointing down, and now we have the twin sisters. And the twin sisters are number 2 and number 5. Understand? Yeah? So what would be the goddess mother?
8.
Correct. What would be the godfather?
1.
Correct. So 8 will be the double curve pointing up and down without reaching the horizon, but around the horizon. And the Godfather is the straight line joining what is above and what is below without crossing the horizon.
That
So when
makes
you
9.
And it makes 9. When we look at our hand, like the way we look at our hand is like this picture. Like this is the way your brain understands your hands. So now I have a simple question. Do your hands look like this? Or do your hand look like that? I love have Nick double check, like just in case, like, oh fuck, which one is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how your brain sees 10 fingers. That's how your brain sees 10 fingers. Your brain sees 10 identical fingers. And if you see 10 fingers, you can't see this. And if you can't see this, you can't understand the property of each finger. And this is something we're going to see in the next course, in the advanced course. So in sacred geometry, we're going now to see the application of the numbers in sacred geometry. So to start, we have to start with the most stable aspect of creation, which is the dot. And we're going to call the dot beginning. The beginning is great, but it's boring. So then what do you need to induce into stillness and bored? You need to induce movement. But to induce movement, then you need an end. Between the beginning and the end, you have a path, you have a journey. But after a while, between the beginning and the end, what's happening? You get bored again. So you need a third choice. And guess what is created from there? A trinity. And as soon as you create a trinity, you create a new boundary condition. And this new boundary condition is a new beginning, which induces a new end, which induces a new choice, which induces a new trinity, which induces a new beginning, and so on. So the triangle is the most structured aspect of reality. So we're going to start the geometrical aspect of it through the radiant force, which is a triangle pointing up, a red triangle pointing up. And we're just simply going to apply the 3 masculine numbers. What are the 3 masculine numbers?
1, 4, and 7.
Correct. I'm going to put the 1, the 4, and the 7. And which number are we going to put in the center?
9.
Nope.
8.
0.
No. Imagine that this is not a triangle, it's a tetrahedron. Imagine that there's 3 points reunify into 1.
3.
Correct. Why?
Because 7, 4, and 1 is 12.
Correct. Here we go. How do we double check that? 1 plus 3 equal
3.
4.
4. 4 plus 3 equal
7.
7. And 7 plus 3 equal
10.
10, which is 1. And you go back into 1. 10 plus 3 equal 13, which is 3 plus 1, 4. 13 and 3 equal 16, which is 6 plus 1, 7. And 16 and 3 equal 19, which is 9 plus 1, which is 10. So additioning 3 create a clockwise movement. You all follow?
Yes.
Okay, 1, 3, 4, 3, 7, 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 7. It creates a clockwise movement. So following the principle of polarity, if we have a triangle pointing up, then we need to have a triangle pointing down, correct. We're going to have a blue triangle pointing down. So therefore, which numbers are we going to put around it? The 3 feminine numbers.
2, 5, and 8.
2, 5, and 8. And what will be the number in the center?
6.
6. 8 plus 5 plus 2 equal 15, which is 6. How do we double check that? 2 plus 6 equal
8.
8. 8 plus 6 equal
14, which is
4
5.
plus 5. Yes, and 14 and 6 equal
5 and 6.
2.
14 and 6 equal 20, which is 2 plus 0, 2. And 20 plus 6 equal 28, which is 2 plus 6. 2 plus 6, sorry, 20 plus 6 equal 26, which is 2 plus 6, 8, and so on. So this time, the number 6 is creating a clockwise movement. So previously, the number 3 was creating the clockwise. Now, in that case, it's the number 6 that is creating the clockwise motion. So what is happening now when we're reunifying the two triangles?
I said,
Yep,
so that's where you're getting the 9 in the middle, is the addition of the masculine and the feminine.
Correct.
Yeah.
1 plus 8. 2 is the curve pointing up. 7 is the straight line pointing down. 4 is the straight line pointing up. And 5 is the curve pointing down. So by reunifying the opposite, we reach the point of balance. And this is the symbol that you have in front of your face for the last 6 weeks.
It's the Star of David.
Also the Seal of Solomon.
Yeah, like it's this universal symbol that has been claimed as a religious symbol. Right? But this is not more Star of David or Solomon that it is actually an hexagram or whatever. It's actually a deep symbol that is embedding a lot of wisdom. And no one can reclaim that it's your thing. Like it's
very from Thoth.
So this is what I discovered a few years ago. I started by the understanding of this pattern before understanding the principles. But when I discovered the principle, I was like, wow, this is actually explaining everything that I can see through these symbols. Because most of the people I was showing them this, and they were like, yeah, and so what? They couldn't understand the wisdom embedded into it. They couldn't see the cause and effect, the gender, the polarity, the cause and effect, the vibration. And by the way, the principle of mentalism, what is the relationship between the numbers and principle of mentalism is that the numbers doesn't exist. They're all a mental experience. They are a mental creation of our psyche. None of them are real. Like you never meet a number 2 in your street when you go outside. It's a mental construction. And they only exist because we care for them and we are using them. Is that interesting?
Yeah.
So this what I discovered a few years ago, but then I came a little bit further away. By the way, the 3 and the 6, 1, 4, and 7 equal 3. So the 3 is in front, and 2, 5, 8, the 6 is behind, and 3 plus 6 equal 9. You all follow?
Just run that by me again. Which one's in front?
So 1 plus 4 plus 7 is a tetrahedron. So imagine that the 3 is in front. 2, 5, 8 is 15, which is 6. The 6 is behind. And 3 plus 6 balance around 9.
Did you ever create a model that showed this third dimension as a 3-dimensional instead of a flat?
I would have loved to do it. I'm still waiting for someone to help me to design this in 3 dimensions so that people can easily visualize it, but no, I haven't done it yet.
Just keep staring at it. It all goes white and then it does it for you.
But something very interesting happened one day is when I realized that those 2 triangles are actually energy. And what I realized is that where those energy are crossing, there was a different level of reality that was unfolding under my eyes. And the way I see it is by seeing that there was another circle inside of it, as you can see here. Like joining all the crossing points of the two energies.
Bless you.
Thank you. And the way I connect to it is like saying, but what is happening, I see the number 1 and the number 2 crossing here. So therefore, this must be a number 3. And then I saw number 2 and number 4 are crossing here. So therefore, it must be a number 6.
It's
And then what happened here?
a 3.
4 plus 8 equal 12, which is 3. And then
6.
8 and 7, 15, which is 6. And then
3.
12, 3. And finally, 5 plus 1, 6.
6.
And what this created?
9.
It created a triangle of 3, 3, 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equal
9.
9.
and a triangle of 6, 6, 6. 6 plus 6 plus 6 equal
18, which is 9.
which is 9. And it actually reveal 3 plus 6, 9, 3 plus 6, 9, 3 and 6, 9 in opposite direction in all of them. So this is what I call the fourth dimension. The second circle is what I could observe as the fourth dimension, the buffer, I would say, the intermediary dimension between the 3 dimension here, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and the dimension of the 9 that could be manifested through the 5th dimension, which is 9, 9, 9, 9, and 9. So basically, I define the 5th dimension as the dimension of unity.
So that's 6 minus 72, which is 9.
Exactly. 72, 7 plus 2, 9. 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6 being the space of duality, because you don't have choice, you don't have any other choice than 3 and 6. So you have unity, duality, and here we have trinity, the 3rd dimension. And this is the symbol that you have in front of your eyes from the very beginning. Any question? So just to go back to the table of multiplication, so I just wanted to show you something. So we're going to go back here. Guess which numbers are reverse mirroring each other? So let's start with the first one. We have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
3.
And number 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 9. And this is the table of multiplication by 1, table of multiplication by 8. And 1 and 8 are the godfather and the godmother. Okay, you will understand later if you want to do the advanced course, why did I call them the godfather and the godmother? There's a specific reason for that. Table of multiplication by 2 and table of multiplication by 7, why are they reverse mirror of each other?
Two and 7.
What is the
because
link?
one's the sister and one's the brother.
Correct. Yeah, one is the curve pointing up, the number 2, and the 7 is the straight line pointing down.
Yeah.
And what about 4 and 5?
Again, brother, sister.
5.
Brother, sister, straight line pointing up, curve pointing down. And this is where the principle of gender was just in front of your nose, but you couldn't identify it because it was hidden in the geometry of the numbers itself. I think it's Tamara who thought about it, mentioned something about 4 and 5 as straight line and curve, in a way.
Yeah, I said something to do with the shape of the numbers themselves.
Shape of the numbers, yes. But you have to see that in each pattern, there's an horizontal line that separates what is above and what is below. And this is a very crucial aspect of the numbers. It allows you to see the secret language of it.
So what, we need to be more deliberate in the way we actually craft our numbers. 7 should be like that.
It's an energy, it's a language, it's a code. So like, just tune on it. Understand that this is the horizon line, and from the horizon, it separates what is above and what is below. And if the energy goes down, it's actually an energy that goes towards the earth. So it's something that is grounding, something that's connected to grounding.
It's interesting how 7 is such a lucky number for so many people, isn't it?
Yeah, be careful about it because there's different ways to relate to 7. For example, if you go back into the 3-dimensional reality, so like this aspect here, the first layer, okay, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. How many numbers do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 isn't only a value, it is also a geometrical aspect. Okay, so the number 7 actually refers to the number 9 in a geometrical aspect. In how many days the world has been created following the Bible?
7.
7 days. But what happened on the 7th day?
It chilled out.
The God has the rest. So what is creating reality is 6. And you need the 7th, which is the resting point, to structure reality. So number 7 is not just a number, it's actually also a relationship. How do I know that? When you were born, what were you? When you've been created, you're the reunification of the 2 gametes of your parents, and you became an egg. And this egg was 1 cell. And what happened into this cell?
Divided.
Divide, multiply, depends on the way you see it. Yeah, divide or multiply by and became 2. Okay, and then 2 became
4.
4, and 4 became
8.
8, and 8 became
16.
and 16 is
32.
7.
16 is 1 plus 6, it's 7. 16 and 16,
5. Huh.
32 is 5, and 32 and 32.
64.
64 is
10. 1.
It's 1, and you go back into 1. But remember that 64 is not like 1. I mean, it is like 1, but it's not 1. 64 is a harmonic of 1. After you've been through the 6 different stages of creation, you arrive to the new layers, the new level of existence.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because the egg separates into all these smaller parts within itself, and then at some point it goes boom and then comes out the other way. So it kind of...
After the 6th division, when we reach the 64 division cell, this is when the stem cells become they segment into specific cells. Before the 6th division, they're all equally the same. It's only from the 6th division that they become to get specified. And this is not a coincidence. Because following this pattern, we see that after the 6th division, we go back into 1. 1 being the next iteration of existence. So this is not just a symbol. It has a much, 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 much deeper meaning. Okay? So plant a seed, watch it grow, and it will go so much farther that you will ever know. And whether that seed be action or word, whether harsh or kind, its power would be heard, and whether its fruits will bring joy or distress, you are the one who will injure or bless. Never estimate the power of planting a seed of truth in a fertile mind. I wanted to thank you all for your beautiful attention all this time. I hope I planted the right seeds in the right mind, and I hope it's going to germinate into a beautiful forest. Do you have any question?
I think I'm just gonna stare at my symbol a lot differently now, and yeah, just see where else it comes up. You know, like where numbers stand out to me. I'm kind of excited to have that, you know, knowledge in the swagger and awareness of that pattern, and to just observe numbers and to observe the characteristics of the numbers, you know, the masculine and the feminine. And then that's kind of my next thing, I suppose. My next thing to start practicing is noticing, really. What to do with it, I wouldn't have a clue, really, at the moment. But yeah, just for the fun of it, I'm looking forward to keeping my eyes, you know, open. Yeah.
I was just on what you were saying there, Nick. I'm not sure what to do with it. I was thinking exactly the same thing. So what? Now what? But now I'm sort of thinking, well, maybe if this is the truth of things, maybe this is some sort of key that you can use to decipher whether something's true or not. Like there must be some other like layer or something that we can use this understanding to cut the bullshit and get down to what's real and true and what's the fabrication or what's the chaos.
Who's familiar with the 440 hertz versus 432 hertz frequency?
Yeah.
440 equal what?
8.
432 equal what?
9.
Ah.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm looking out for the patterns.
Isn't that interesting? An interesting coincidence. Who's familiar with the frequency of love, the DNA activation frequency?
Is it 532 or something?
528.
Oh, 528.
Think about 528. What are 528?
6.
6.
6. What are 528s?
They're feminine numbers.
The 3 feminine numbers, correct. Interesting coincidence.
What about, I have a question on 7 though. Like I can understand that you say that it's got a resting value in its 7, but I also feel like there has to be more to it. I mean, there has to be why that it's considered a lucky number and why you have 7 deadly sins. Like there has to be more to that number, and that number doesn't
there's more.
tear down. Right.
Of course there is.
Yeah. Because I can see how when you get bigger, you can break down those numbers to look at them as feminine numbers, masculine.
I'm going to give you a clue. Take your calculator and take any number and divide it by 7. And look at what is happening after the comma.
2857143.
That's it. You don't have more numbers. Can you? Do you have more? Do you have more numbers? Because it stops at 3. It stops at 3. Can you see more on that?
571428. 571428. 571428. Is that right?
142857. 142857. 142857. Does it remind you something?
Masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine.
Yes. What else? What is the sequence that I show you on the third dimension? 124875. 124875. This one is 142857. 142857. You reverse the two, the second and the third, and you reverse the fifth and the sixth, the fourth and the fifth. So of course there's more to it. Of course.
1, 4, 2.
I need to go, Roman. It's late and I
know.
can't do anymore.
That's why you want to go too deep into way too much, because.
No, it's not too much. It's just that I've had enough. I need to go.
Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
And I'll be in touch with you at some stage. If you want to know anything about Glastonbury again, just contact me.
I will.
Nice to meet you all.
Bye, Robin. Sleep well.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.